This is WOR in New York.
Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Welcome to the fear you can hear. Welcome to the sounds of suspense. It was the ill-fated Prince of Denmark, Hamlet, who lamented, "The time is out of joint. Oh, cursed spite, that ever I was born to set it right." Many people before and since have echoed the same cry of despair, but none with more compelling justice and reason than Ethan Vigil, clockmaker and destroyer. Ethan Vigil, for whom a special clock struck a magic and an evil hour.
You got your box in. Your move, Jake.
No, don't rush me. I'm thinking. God in heaven, Ethan, how can you stand that infernal racket?
What racket? Oh, you mean the clock striking? I don't even notice it anymore. Well, go ahead. What do you want to give up?
No. Who can think of a chess move with all hell breaking loose? From now on, start our games after midnight. Have to drive a man stark, staring mad. I swear to Sam Hill, Ethan, you deliver.
The only two living things left in the room at that terrifying moment, as time stood still, were myself and that damnable machine.
Our mystery drama, Time and Again, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Ian Martin and stars John Beal. It is sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser, and by the Kellogg Company, makers of Kellogg's Special K cereal. I'll return shortly with Act One.
When you drink beer, do you tilt the glass for long, hearty swallows? Or just tip it and sip it? Well, sipping's the thing for wine. But Budweiser beer is a hearty drink, brewed for zest and character. The best way to enjoy Bud is to drink it. Not chug-a-lug, just man-sized beer drinker swallows. That's when that famous Budweiser taste, smoothness, and drinkability really come through. Smoothness and drinkability that come only from natural carbonation and exclusive beechwood aging. Smoothness and drinkability, too good for any half-hearted sipping. So drink up. You'll see that brewing beer right does make a difference. And that when you say Budweiser, you've said it all. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis.
No matter what you're saving for, that's what Suburban Savings for Suburban.
Suburban Savings offers you a regular savings account with flexibility. You can add any amount to your account whenever you wish. Withdraw whenever you want. Suburban Savings pays a 5.25% annual interest rate on regular savings paid quarterly, which earns an annual effective yield of 5.47%. Interest is compounded continuously from day of deposit to day of withdrawal, as long as $50 is maintained in the account to the end of the quarter. Come into Suburban Savings and open an account with flexibility. Our regular savings account in New Jersey at Bayonne, Edgewater, Elmwood Park, Emerson, Hackettstown, Morris Plains, Nutley, Paramus, and Sparta.
Few of us can resist the fascination of an auction, and I'm no different than most, which is how and why I happen to possess this curious document, which reveals a bone-chilling account of how many lives were lost so uncannily and eerily to the inhuman demands of what Ethan Vigil called that damnable machine. The tale I'm about to tell... No, wait. If you can manage to decipher his cramped longhand, let Ethan Vigil confess for himself.
I, Ethan Vigil, clockmaker by trade, am writing this in case, when the moment comes, I fail to destroy the hourglass clock. For if I fail, someone must destroy it. Kill it. End its ghastly existence before God knows how many innocent people will die to satisfy its insatiable thirst. The clock itself came into my possession more or less by accident. I was working late at my shop one night about a year ago, and I heard a tapping on the closed glass door. Nation, some people can't read signs. Darn fools like to break that glass.
Stop that. Can't you see him close? And Governor, please. Let me in.
Oh, get on with you.
You won't be sorry. Give me a chance. I'll give you the chance of a lifetime. Look.
It was raining heavily, the water streaming down the glass, but the object he had drawn from the cover of his pea jacket drew my eyes like a magnet. It was a clock, the like of which I'd never seen. It was shaped like an hourglass, with a strange-appearing pendulum hanging in the lower half and the face in the upper half. And in the place of the figure 12, at the top of the face, was the numeral 13. I had to see that clock more closely.
Oh, bless you, Governor. You're a lifesaver, you are.
What do you want?
Oh, I want you to have a look at this here clock.
The clock is the only reason I let you in. I'd like to have a look at it myself. Let's take it over to the bench. You want this clock repaired?
I want to sell it to you, is what I want.
I hope I don't regret this, but come on to my place in the back. There's a fire in there to dry you up a bit. Better back up to that fire. Where'd you get this clock?
Why, it came into my possession when its owner died.
Does it run?
Well, now, that there clock, it doesn't run. I'd be the first to admit it.
I'll give you $20.
Oh, now, look here.
$20. Take it or leave it.
Well, I may be down and out, but I know a good thing when I see it, and I don't intend to be taken advantage of by somebody else.
There doesn't seem to be any question of who's being taken advantage of.
Harriet.
Ethan, who is this person?
He's a customer, more or less. This is my sister-in-law.
It's near on to midnight, and my poor sick sister is pining upstairs for her husband to bring her a little faith and consolation.
Oh, now, Mom, I certainly am sorry to intrude on family problems.
Then don't. Ethan, get rid of this man.
You better go.
Yeah, but what about our business and the clock?
Well, $20 is all I have to my name.
I'll take it.
Don't you do it, Ethan.
Oh, mind your own business for once, Harriet. I had little doubt my sailor, who called himself Harry Stubbs, had dubious title to that strange clock. But like all collectors, to own something totally and unreservedly unique is an overriding obsession.
Is he gone?
Yes.
Oh, just look at this place after you had that derelict in here. Lights on all over the place, eating up money. To say nothing of good hard cash thrown away on that piece of junk on the table.
It was my own money.
What own money? Oh, you and Henrietta wouldn't even have a roof over your heads, let alone a piece of business if it weren't for me. Oh, no, it's my money that keeps you going, and don't you forget it. Now, you lock the door to the shop.
I still have some repairs left to do.
You'll have to get up early tomorrow and do them.
I just wanted to have another look at this clock. before-
You'll waste no more time or light or fuel down here tonight. If it wasn't for good money paid out, I'd take that piece of junk on the table and dump it in the rubbish.
How I wish she'd done just that. Let the city collect it with the morning trash and bury it forever. But fate hadn't planned it that way. So I went upstairs from Harriet to face another problem I didn't know how to solve. My ailing wife, Henrietta.
Ethan, is that you?
Yes, Henrietta.
Where Where have you been?
Working, dear. Are you hurting?
Oh, when don't I hurt?
I know. How's your back?
It isn't my back. It's my stomach, Ethan. I'm scared. I've been afraid to think of it, but I know, Harriet, sure, I've got...
No, none of that. You just get off to sleep. That's what you need.
You just don't know how it is to be suffering every blessed minute of every day.
As I slipped under the covers and lay wide awake beside Henrietta, snoring away, my mind went back to the strange clock on the table downstairs. The intriguing mystery of a mechanism I had never even imagined in 40 years of clockmaking. And the enigma of why 13 replaced the numeral 12 on the face. All the next morning, between my infrequent customers, I puzzled and poked and pried to reveal the workings of this bizarre clock. But by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, when I was completely stymied, my wife surprised me by coming out to the bench in her bathrobe. Henrietta, what's wrong?
I've been calling for someone. Where's Harriet?
Well, she went to market. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh, I've got those blinding headaches again. Could we send for Dr. Royce? Is that the old clock that Harriet told me you threw away hard-earned money on?
It's a very valuable antique, an original, and it was my money.
Does it run?
No.
And what good is it?
It's worth $20 as it is, at least. In working condition, it could be priceless.
Can you fix it?
Oh, I don't know.
Why not?
Well, look at it, Henrietta. Have you ever seen anything like it? First of all, the hourglass shape of the case.
What's inside?
Well, that's the problem. Except for the 2 round glass windows. And they're not even glass. I don't know what they are.
What window?
And the one for the clock face in the upper cup, if you want to call it that, and the one in the lower inverted cup, where you can see what looks like a pendulum.
Oh, can't you shake it and get that to swing?
That doesn't seem to be the way it's activated. It's quite stationary.
Funny, lopsided shape. Maybe it melted or something. Can't you get into the works?
Oh, only through this lid on the top. Now, look. There's all you can see of the works. Very old. Wooden gears, wooden pinions, wooden axles. No way to lift it out. I can't even get my hand in there to try.
Let me. It's so silly. There must be some way to... Ow!
What is it?
Look what your silly old clock has done.
What's the matter?
My finger is bleeding. It felt like something bit me.
Oh, come on, let me see. Why, it's just a scratch. Scarcely drew blood.
Just the same, I'm not taking any chances with that dirty old clock. I could end up with blood poisoning. I'm going to run this underwater. Now, you get me a bandage and some disinfectant.
Right with you. I was suddenly aware that the clock was running. And its beat was the sound of the human heart.
But Ethan didn't follow his wife right away, because suddenly he had become conscious that the clock had come to life, that it had started to record time again, and that the sound of its beat was very different from all other clocks. It was a sound akin, if not completely similar, to the beat of the human heart. I shall return shortly with Act 2.
And now another tale of the ball and chain. At Kellogg's Special K presents
the good, the bad, and the heavy.
Why is that cowboy wearing a ball and chain?
Because carrying around extra pounds can be just like carrying around a ball and chain.
How symbolic.
What will it be, senor? Give me the Special K breakfast.
Here you go. For a Special K, skim milk, orange juice, and coffee. Say, don't I know you from someplace?
You probably don't recognize me with my ball and chain. I used to be 10 pounds lighter, but I'm getting back that way by exercising and eating smart at every meal. Starting with this here Special K breakfast.
What's so special?
It's less than 240 calories, 99% fat-free, and delicious. It's going to help me get rid of this here ball and chain.
I bet your horse will be glad to hear that.
another ball and chain. Fight the gust.
Your happy ending could begin with the Kellogg's Special K breakfast.
That's Kellogg's Special K.
That's right.
Good night.
This is WOR New York, your Mystery Theater station. for dinner? Hey, Ma, what you got? Hey, Ma, will it be much longer? My hunger gets stronger and I can't wait. She loves her family. She wants the best. She does all that she can do. She lets ShopRite do the rest. Hey, Ma,
what's for dinner? How about Armour canned ham, 3-pound size, $3.99. ShopRite grade A frozen green beans, 9-ounce packages, 6 for $1. ShopRite dairy case homestyle biscuits, 8-ounce packages, 5 for 49 cents.
She loves the family. She wants the best. She does all that she can do. She lets ShopRite do the rest. Hey, Ma, what's for dinner? ShopRite has the answer.
Whatever his wife had accidentally touched, the clock had begun to run and remained running steadily, without any sign of stopping. Ethan checked that Henrietta's wound was little more than a surface scratch, and returned to observe... But let him tell his own story for himself, as he wrote it in his confession.
My examination of the clock as it ran made it even more of an enigma. Behind the face, beneath the lid, the gears I saw engage, second by second, operated the hands that told the time. What motivated them was obvious, the strange mass that I had supposed a pendulum weight, but which now, quite clearly, was a diaphragm or pump, opening and closing to create energy, in a motion like a human fist, or... Yes, suddenly I knew why the irregular shape was familiar, like the human heart. But what, in turn, motivated that, or fueled it, was the ultimate mystery. Everything about this clock was different, exotic, strange. Even its chime for the hours, plangent, plaintive, almost the sound of a human voice. I watched it irresistibly all day, all during the night, while I waited for Dr. Jacob Royce to come and examine my wife. Even while I waited for the result of that examination.
What the devil are you doing out here, Ethan?
I'm sorry, Jake. Just observing this clock. It's got me mesmerized. How's Henrietta?
Oh, what am I going to tell you, Ethan?
Same thing as usual.
Yep. Not a trace of any physiological problem. Never is. Oh, there's a name for it if it's of any help. Chronic inadequate. Someone who just can't handle the simple process of life and has to make excuses for it.
I'd better go up to her.
Oh, there's no need. I gave her a sedative. Won't hurt her, but it might do you some good. Come on now. Let's play chess.
If I set us up out here, all right?
With all those clocks rattling away?
I want to keep my eye on this baby here.
If you can't sit up with one sick friend, you gotta sit up with another.
And for the next 10 or 15 minutes, I did forget the clock that was to haunt the rest of my days. Inexorably, as we concentrated on the chessboard, all of the clocks ticked on towards 12 o'clock. And the moment when the explanation of that substitute number 13 was about to be made by the clock itself. Don't think much of your king's pawn variation, Jake. Got you boxed in. Your move.
Don't rush me. Don't rush me. I'm thinking. Good Lord, Ethan. How can you stand that infernal racket?
Huh? What racket? Oh, you mean the clock striking? I don't even notice them anymore. Go ahead. Or do you want to give up?
No. But who can think of a chess move with all hell breaking loose? From now on, we start our games after midnight. Enough to drive a man stark, staring mad. I swear to Sam Hill, Ethan, you deliver.
After the 12th stroke of the hourglass clock's chime, there was no sound but the beat of the clock and my own heart. Everything else had stopped dead. My friend's mouth was frozen in the act of speaking. His hand poised over a chessman as though cast in bronze. Outside, like the old child's game, people had turned to statues. A car backing into a parking space was stopped in its tracks. The very raindrops hung motionless in the air like a spangled curtain. For everyone else in the world, save only me and that damnable clock, time was standing still. The next hour was a strange delirium. My brain raced with new ideas for achieving my lifelong dream, a perpetual motion timepiece. My legs were as supple and tireless as an 18-year-old's as I climbed the stairs to look at my wife, frozen in the act of turning in her sleep. My sister-in-law caught in the middle of a snore. Towards the end of the hour, I returned to the shop. A quick stab of terror prodding at me. Was this to be forever? Poor Jake still sat in the middle of the move he had started almost an hour ago. The hands of all the clocks pointed to exactly 12, except the hourglass. There, the small hand stood directly at 13, while the minute hand swept closer and closer to join it. With a sense of mounting excitement, I waited for their junction. Like the other clocks, my strange new one had only struck 12 before. Now I felt I knew the reason for 13. The extra magic hour of precious time that twice a day it offered to its owner. With bated breath, I waited for the proof. The missing chime. And then it came.
Directly set us up here tonight to get me off my game. I concede.
Don't you want some more time to think it over?
Oh, it wouldn't matter if you gave me an hour to consider it. Tonight I'm too bushed to think. It's 1 minute after 12. We've only been at the game 10 minutes or so, and I feel as if I've been here for 70.
Is it really only 10 minutes?
You're the clockmaker, Ethan. Look all around you at your little markers.
Yes, you're right. So it's true.
You feeling all right?
Never better. Why?
You look a little strange for a minute. Matter of fact, Ethan, I've been meaning to mention it. I'd like to have you drop around to the office someday soon.
What for?
Well, you're not as young as you were, you know. And you've been pushing yourself pretty hard lately. Want to make a date now?
No, I'll call you.
No, don't forget.
No.
Now, there's something I wish all my patients were as healthy as.
Yeah, 20 years since I started that old avocado tree in the window.
And like Topsy, it just grew.
Don't you believe it? Oh, that took a lot of tender, loving care. Watered just right, pinching it back, bringing it along to grow up right. Just like the child. I love that old tree.
Well, listen, man's got to have something to love.
Yeah, I reckon. Oh, you don't think there's anything really wrong with Henny, do you?
No, I don't. Just another of her eternal spells. Well, night, old friend.
Rain stopped. Good night, Jake. For a long time after my old friend drove away, I stood by the door, gazing into the cool, crisp night. I didn't notice the cold. I was too full of a kind of welling excitement inside me. What a gift that clock had brought me. The dreams were building like castles in my head. Why, I was richer and more powerful than a king. For now I knew, no matter what, that for 2 blessed hours every day, from now on, I was a free man. And the last thing I heard that night, as my head hit the pillow, was the triumphant beat of the clock sounding in my inner ear. Or was it the sound of my own heart
I don't know, Harriet. Now, I don't mean to alarm you, but I think we'll put your sister Henrietta in the hospital for a few days for observation.
Well, what's the matter with her?
Well, that's what I wanted to put her in the hospital for. Find out.
Well, what do you suspect it is?
I don't suspect it's anything. I just want to reassure myself. Now, why don't you go up and keep her company while I talk to Ethan?
Oh, you won't have any trouble convincing him. I don't see why I can't take care of her.
Well, you can't this time, Harriet. If you want to help, go sit with her. I'll make the arrangements with Ethan.
How's Henny?
I want to put her in the hospital for a few days, Ethan.
Oh, she's that sick?
I'm not sure. Whatever it is, this is not just one of her spells. I want her under observation for a while.
Oh, whatever you say, Jake.
I wish I knew what to say. I feel a little guilty. Ever since that night a few weeks ago when we were playing chess.
What do you mean, guilty?
Well, damn it, for 20 years I've been medicating her imaginary ills. I wonder if maybe I got careless that night.
Huh?
Well, there's no doubt that from then on, this debility, anemia, whatever it is, started. Well, I'll get along and make all the arrangements. I'll phone you when to expect the ambulance.
I had my own guilt nagging at me. In the months since I'd discovered the secret of the clock, I'd thought of pretty nearly nothing else. I waited as eager as a child for those 2 stolen hours every day. Not only for the relief from Harriet's nagging and poor Henrietta's everlasting complaints, but for the lift, the joy, the youth and vigor that they brought me. For I'd gone one better than Ponce de Leon. For part of a day, anyway. I had found the fountain of youth. But a wave of shocks was about to jolt me back to reality. The first was Henny's being taken to the hospital. The second was the morning the clock stopped. Oh, no. No. No!
What is it, Ethan?
You can't stop.
What is it, Ethan? What's wrong?
The clock, it stopped.
Oh, is that all?
I've got to get it started.
Oh, you shake it like that, it'll end up in pieces. Good riddance. I told you it was a waste of money.
Get out of here.
How dare you talk to me like
get
that?
out!
Oh, I certainly will. Nobody's going to talk to me like that, particularly not you.
I was frantic. My golden hours of solitude gone. My extra gift of precious time and the rebirth of youth. I couldn't let them go. There must be some way to bring them back. Start that intricate mechanism again. Clock was its lifeblood somehow drained. Blood. But that's what started it in the first place. Maybe... Oh, damnation. I'll let it ring. I've got to find something to... Oh, all right. Hello?
Ethan, it's Jake.
Oh, Jake. Look, I don't want to talk now.
Oh, then you've heard.
Heard what?
About Henrietta?
Oh, she's not...
I just got back to my office and got a message from the hospital. I'm afraid she's passed away.
Oh, are you sure?
Well, I'm on my way to the hospital now, just on the outside chance. Better meet me there.
I'm on my way. We were too late. Henny was gone. With no goodbyes. I sat by a nurse's desk, waiting for Jake to complete arrangements and drive me home. A young nurse came down the hall with a tray of blood samples, putting them on the desk. She came towards me.
Mr. Vigil?
Yes, nurse?
Dr. Royce asked me to tell you he'll only be a minute or two.
Oh, thank you, nurse. As she walked away, my eyes following her blindly, then I was looking at that tray of blood samples. Blood. It was Henny's cutting her finger that started the clock. Would that be the answer? I acted without thinking. In a moment, I had slipped one of the tubes into my pocket. And I was back in my seat before Jake came striding down the hall. I was back in the shop at last, alone. With shaking fingers, I lifted the lid, exposing the brain, or whatever it was, of the clock. Uncapping the tube, I poured in the blood. I looked at the dial. The hands were spinning around to the proper time. And then, the clock was alive again. Its heart was beating.
It would have been better, far better, had Ethan left it for, as we shall see when we return shortly with Act 3.
We knew we had a good thing going, but we're absolutely delighted that you know it, too. I'm Hy Brown, producer of Radio Mystery Theater, saying thank you. Thank you for those thousands of letters. Our prize drawing is over now, and I wish I could thank each of you personally. But here's the rub. So many of you ask questions about all sorts of things having to do with radio that sifting through the letters will take weeks. So here's a suggestion. If you need a quick reply, do write again, just the question this time, and we'll try to answer right away. Send it to Mystery Theater, Box 5152, Radio City Station, New York 10019. That's Mystery Theater, Box 5152, Radio City Station, New York 10019. And again, thanks so very much for your fabulous encouragement.
This is WOR New York, your station for the Mystery Theater.
Hello, this is Joe Franklin. Ladies and gentlemen and boys and girls, for the very latest in nostalgia, for the ultimate in remembering, please join with me on Saturday nights from 9:05 to 11 o'clock, where memories are truly happening right here over WOR Radio. It is my privilege to present radio's original Memory Lane program, but positively the original, whether it's Al Jolson or Benny Goodman or Louis Armstrong or Eddie Cantor or Harry James or the Dorseys, Mario Lanza, Gene Krupa, the young Frank Sinatra, George M. Cohan, Bing Crosby, Bogart, Lombard, Cagney, and all those happy times of radio's comedy and drama and soap opera. We have it fascinatingly, and all the sounds are reproduced crystal clear Saturday nights from 9:05 till 11 over WOR Radio. Yours truly, Joe Franklin, hosting Memory Lane. Tune in.
Which of us could resist the temptation of perpetual youth? Or short of that, any extension of life? 2 extra hours a day is 730 a year. Almost exactly an extra month. In a lifetime, 6 whole more years. But what Ethan Vigil forgot is that for every action, there is a reaction. For every gift, a recompense.
The saddest part of my confession is that after my wife's death, I became completely blind to everything but my 2 periods of escape every day. More and more, my sister-in-law, Harriet, took over the ordinary part of life, transforming my beloved clock shop into a nightmare against which I preferred to close my eyes.
Ethan? Ethan?
What, Harriet?
Would you mind helping me dress this window, please?
Well, what's the matter with it as it is?
If you just get away from that bench of yours for a moment and come here, perhaps I can show you.
All right, Harriet.
You know how I'm branching out now that I'm the active partner in the store.
Oh, Igor and Jim Cracks.
Well, you might know you'd lag a mile behind the times. This is novelty jewelry, and to sell it, we must display it.
Cheap claptrap.
Now, first off, I want you to get this cheap, silly rubber plant out of the window.
Rubber plant? That's my avocado tree that I grew with my own hands.
Well, whatever it is, it takes up the whole window. I want it out of here.
No, sir, not my tree. It needs the sunshine it gets.
But what use is it?
Tarnation. Does everything have to have a function? It's beautiful. It's balm to my soul. That's enough reason for its existence. Besides, it don't cost nothing, so you leave it alone.
Oh, very well. but I must have somewhere to display my costume jewelry. Oh, let's move that ugly old hourglass clock somewhere else. Why does it have to be right beside your bench where every customer comes...
Harriet, I'm warning you. You leave that clock where it is. Don't you ever dare lay a hand on it, you hear me?
Oh, my, aren't we touchy? Well, just let me remind you of something, Ethan. With Henrietta gone, her share goes to me. So I am 2/3 of this store. I can have it any way I want to.
Over my body. You can do what you want with all your cheap, tinselly stuff, but you keep your hands off that clock.
Oh, heaven's sake, all right. Don't you have an appointment with Dr. Royce?
Oh, no, I forgot. I'll get right over to his office.
Okay, Ethan, you can put your shirt back on. I'm all finished examining you.
Oh, what's the verdict?
I couldn't be more pleased.
Ah, you approve of the shape I'm in, huh?
Well, before Henrietta died, I don't mind telling you I was plumb worried about you.
Oh.
Your heart was acting up. I didn't like your blood pressure. And there was a lump in your belly I could palpate big as a grapefruit.
And now?
Now I don't even need the x-rays I took. Know it before I see him. It's practically noon. Now go on, you don't need a doctor. Get out of here. Let me get around to the sick people outside who do.
As I went into the outer office, I glanced at the electric clock on the wall. The hands clocked to noon as I did so, and I was looking at a, by now, familiar scene. The nurse who had risen to escort the next patient in was suddenly transfixed, halfway up from her chair. A child about to scream remained with face contorted, the scream not yet uttered. A thought crossed my mind. It was a month since I had fed the clock that first transfusion. I went into Jake's small lab, opened the refrigerator, I helped myself to a blood sample, and left. Back at the store, the only sound was the beat of my clock. It seemed a little labored to me, but for the moment I was too furious to see what Harriet had been at since I left. Draped all over my avocado tree were festoons of cheap tin and glass jewelry, and Harriet, the superior smirk on her face, was caught immobile in the act of adding more. I choked back my anger because suddenly, before I could move, the clock beat died.
Why, Ethan, how'd you get back so soon?
What are you doing to the avocado?
Well, since I can't take it out of the window, I thought I'd just use it as a display tree.
You leave that alone. As long as it's there, no one moves that or touches it, except me. You understand that?
Well, you certainly don't have to be so abusive.
Get away. Get out of here. Leave me alone.
Oh, when you're in a mood like this, I'm glad to. I'm sorry to tell you that your precious clock seems to be out of order again. I hope this time it's broken for good.
Good riddance. Poor old tree. But first, some special oil for the magic lamp. Please, God, you'll still run again. And time stood still again. The pattern for the next months of my life was set. The part of it in my waking moments was only a necessary bridge between the long hours of infinite relief and accomplishment my clock brought me each noon and midnight. My designs for my perpetual motion mechanism were completed. I had already started to build it. That was my real life. Although I found to my dismay that the clock seemed to demand more and more frequent transfusions to stay running. But these were easy to steal from Jake's office in the hours when time stood still. Then once again, events caught up with me. Oh, Jake, just a moment. What are you doing here this time of night?
Well, the evening's young. I thought a chess game might get some things off my mind. What were you frowning at in the window when I passed?
My plant there.
Avocado? Oh, yeah. Looks a mite peaked.
I can't understand it. It's been wilting and drooping day by day. No reason. Are you any good at diagnosing vegetable life, Jake?
Nope. I'm beginning to think I'm not much better with humans. I wish I knew the secret of your spot of youth. Think I'm getting old.
You're not yourself, Jake. What's wrong?
I don't know. In a way, it goes back to Henrietta's death, or seems to.
What does?
Well, I never said too much about the way she died at the time, Ethan.
Congestive heart failure, you said?
Oh, that's true enough. That's a condition that produces an end to living. But what caused it?
Are you asking me?
No, I'm asking myself. And I have no answer. Oh, tests were run and the pathological evidence was clear enough. But in spite of massive transfusions, we couldn't stop Henrietta's blood from simply disintegrating. Quite literally turn into water.
And that's unusual.
Abnormal. Never seen a case like it before. In the last 3 months, I've lost 3 of my patients to the same sort of, what shall I say, same sort of malady. I might have seen it developing, except for a strange thing.
What?
Well, all of them had been to my office and had routine blood samples drawn for physical checkup.
And the samples didn't warn you?
There weren't any samples to examine. Unaccountably, they disappeared from my office. And one other strange coincidence. The night your wife died, a blood sample for a patient in the hospital disappeared.
And that patient died later?
Yep, about 4 weeks later. But I don't know why I'm worrying you with all this. It's none of your business.
But it is.
Huh? Oh, you mean as far as Henrietta is concerned?
No, I mean much more than that.
Ethan, what is it? I didn't mean to upset you like this.
I'm not upset. I just want you to understand.
Understand what?
That I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Well, you're a good friend, Ethan. And I guess I don't feel like any chess tonight now. I'll run along.
Jake.
Yeah?
I never asked before, but do you remember exactly what time Henny died?
Oh, about 25 to 12, I think.
I didn't have to think. I knew it all now. That was the precise moment that evil clock first stopped. So it was a monster, insatiable, that once having tasted blood, continued to suck on its victim till it had drained all life away. And I was no better, no less evil. I had been feeding this mechanical vampire at the cost of other human lives. In a daze, unable to explain to him, I saw my old friend Jake out and turned to face what I had to face. The shop was dark as I walked to the clock. My ears were so attuned to it by now that I'd been aware that it had started to labor and needed a fresh transfusion. I was more than a little mad by now, as in the dark I said to it, "Die! You devil! Die!" My moment of triumph was brief. I still had my own expiation to make. Not only for my wife, but for all those others. And there was a personal sadness as my hands in the darkness traced the form of my perpetual motion machine, which would never be completed now. A man without love, wife, or children would like to leave a small footprint on the sands, his gauge to immortality. All I would leave now was a sick avocado tree I had nourished for 20 years for nothing. And then suddenly, I heard stealthy footsteps and pulled back into the shadows.
Harry. Oh, thought you'd gone to bed.
What are you doing to the plant?
Oh, why, it's just some food to make...
Let me see. It's a weed killer. You've been poisoning my tree. Why, you...
Don't you touch me.
Get away from it.
Look what you've done. I've cut my hand. It's your fault. But finally you've smashed up this ugly old clock for good. It's just as your precious avocado tree is going to be. And don't think you can save it. I knew you'd never agree to take it out of the window, so I've been poisoning it for weeks. It's as good as right now.
And so were you, Harriet. So were you. Her blood had started the thing again. But this was to be the last time. What is there left to say? I have to watch another human being die. Slowly, inexorably, unable to arrest the inevitable. And even though it is someone I despise, my guilt is in no way lessened. The only pleasure I can take is that as Harriet sinks, so does that remorseless, evil machine. And once its heart is stilled, I shall destroy it forever. The one element I have not tried against it is the enemy of the devil. I shall take it, chained to my body, when we go to our grave in the river, to share it for eternity. As I finish this confession, to mail to my good friend, Dr. Jacob Royce, I can hear the evil thing labor, about to die. It's time for me to write the end.
So be warned. If you should by any chance come across a clock in a curio shop shaped like an hourglass with a dial that bears the number 13 instead of 12, shun it like the plague. I'll be back shortly.
Hello, mystery fans. This is the Creeping Claw. Yes, this is the Claw, and I'm coming your way. I'm coming your way, and I'm gonna get you.
Oh, I'd love to play the lead in one of those mysteries. This is Gene Shepard, gang, and I'm here to tell you that there's been a great time change here on WOR, and from here on in, I'm going to be heard every night. There's been all kinds of phone calls about it, so here's the answer. Every night at 9:15, Monday through Friday. Gene Shepard, better known as the Creeping Claw.
Good evening. I'm Patricia McCann. Dora McCann and I hope to have the pleasure of your company this week from 11:15 a.m. to 12, Monday through Friday. And let me tell you what we've got planned. Food prices have gone up again, so tomorrow we'll talk good, cheap food and how to make it taste. Then Tuesday, the day we've set aside for our ongoing nutrition series, our guest will be Diane Buckman, and she'll tell you how to use herbs to make everything from your own cosmetics and perfume to a natural tranquilizer. Then on Wednesday, we're going to get tough. Our guest will be Ralph Sharrell, a lawyer, a consumer, and a complainer, and he wants to tell us all how to get satisfaction from Ma Bell, Con Ed, and the local TV repairman. Thursday, Dora McCann interviews a lady who does a lot of ad-libbing in the kitchen, who doesn't think you should be uptight about a lot of the old rules and regulations. Her name is Glenn Andrews. She's author of Impromptu Cooking. And then last but not least, on Friday, you'll hear Muhammad Salam, who'll talk about his Middle Eastern restaurant, the Tripoli restaurant here in New York, one of the best. Have we got a date? Monday through Friday, the McCann program right here on WOR.
Oh, the fascination of time and man's never-ending quest to hoard it. to stretch it, to borrow an extra portion for himself alone. As I sit watching the clock ticking away, I too have that irrational impulse all of us have felt sometime to hold back the hands and bring time itself to stop. And then I remember Ethan Vigil, and I decide that once around is enough for all of us. Our cast included John Beale, Grace Matthews, Bryna Rayburn, and Ian Martin. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, a preview of our next tale.
Deeply, hopelessly, irrevocably in love. Now, my boy, I've been a publisher a long time. I've talked to dozens of authors. They all fall in love with characters they've created. It happens all the time. She didn't exist before you created her, did she?
She exists now.
Good heavens, man. She came out of your mind. She has no life except the one you gave her.
Maybe she did come out of my mind, but now she's got a life of her own.
Well, in a manner of speaking, of course she has. And I want to prolong that life, Stephen. I predict great success for Clarissa. And for you. You and Clarissa are one, you might say.
No, we are not one. We must never be one. I want her.
This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
WOR Mystery Theater was brought to you by ShopRite Supermarkets, where you get a lot more for a little less, and by Suburban Savings, with offices throughout North Jersey. The preceding Mystery Theater program was furnished by the CBS Radio Network.
John Wingate here. You have a problem? Money, stocks, medical, or whatever. Then join me, weeknights at 10 p.m., for the Wingate News Digest. News is simpler than you think. It's what affects you, your pocketbook, your job, your pension, all those things. These we cover, plus all hard news. The Wingate News Digest, weeknights at 10.
Be sure you join us again tomorrow for the Mystery Theater, right after the Fulton Lewis News Commentary, Monday through Friday, here on WOR. The news is next with Bert Wilson, a full 15-minute wrap-up. WOR New York, an RKO General station.
Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Welcome to the sounds of suspense, to the fear you can hear. I have a story for you about a writer of books. We all know what it is to read a book. We all read, sometimes to learn, sometimes to pass the time, sometimes to experience a life unrelated to our own, and sometimes to surrender ourselves to the fantasies of a person we have never met and will never meet. But what is it to write a book? That's another thing altogether.
But what difference does it make?
All the difference in the world.
Well, it's not as if it were real.
It is real. Don't you see that?
Well, I mean, it's not real life.
It is real life. It's a life more real than yours or mine or any life that anyone will ever live.
Well, how can you say that? It's just a book.
mystery drama Three Women was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Elspeth Eric and stars Ruth Ford. It is sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser. I'll return shortly with Act One. What is a book? 200, 300, 400 pages of words lying side by side in rows. That's all. Words we all know. Many of them we use. Nothing mysterious about the words themselves. But they are not thrown helter-skelter on the pages, are they? No, they lie there in a certain order, each one following on the one before. And who prescribed that order? Who put this word here and that word there? A writer. And this is the story of a writer named Stephen Lake and the book he wrote.
Yes?
Does Mr. Lake live here?
Yes?
Is he home?
Yeah, he's home.
Could I see him?
Well, he's working.
Could you tell him, please, it's Mr. Higgins to see him?
Higgins?
I'm a publisher. Look, could I step inside? It's terribly cold out here.
I guess so.
He really is working, isn't he? I mean, I hear him. His typewriter.
You're a publisher, you say?
Yes, that's right. If you just tell him...
You can go on up.
Up?
Yeah, up that ladder. That's where he works up there.
Oh, thank you.
You get to the top, just bang on the trap door.
Well, yes, thank you.
Bang hard so he'll hear you.
Yes, all right.
He heard you.
Mr. Lake, I'm Albert Higgins.
Albert Higgins? Not from...
Yes, from Higgins and Hart. All right to come up the rest of the way?
All right. Well, I should say. Can you make it? Can I help you?
I think I can. Yes. Here we are.
I can't believe it. Mr. Albert Higgins.
Very same. This where you work?
Yes, it's the only place I can get away. I live with my wife and my mother-in-law. That was my mother-in-law who let you in.
Well, it's nice and secluded up here, anyway.
May I take your coat, Mr. Higgins?
Oh, thank you. No, actually, I think I'll keep it on.
You're cold.
Well, it's awfully cold outside.
Well, I think it's even colder in here. I get where I don't notice it.
You have a stove, I see.
Yes, but sometimes I forget to put wood in. Just a second, I'll get it going again.
That's a real old Franklin stove, isn't it?
Genuine article.
I haven't seen a Franklin stove in years.
They're great, if you remember to keep them lighted. Please sit down, Mr. Higgins.
All right. Well, now, I better explain what I'm doing here.
I'd sure like to know.
My secretary handed me your manuscript just as I was leaving the office for the weekend. We have a little ski lodge up here, my wife and I, right up the road from you, as a matter of fact.
Yes, I think maybe I've seen it. Right off Route 7, about a mile north.
Yes, that's it. Well, I was coming up by myself, and on the train I read your book. When I got to the lodge, I read it again. I like it a lot. Except for one thing.
What's that?
You've made one grievous error, Mr. Lake. Or may I call you Stephen?
Call me anything. What's the mistake?
You've killed off the most attractive character in the book.
You mean Clarissa?
You can't do that, my boy. Why, 9/10 of the book's appeal is the charm of that girl. She's another Scarlett O'Hara. You can't spend 200 pages making us fall in love with this marvelous creature and then, poof, just like that, have her die on us, go out of our lives. Well, you just can't do that.
But I have to.
Well, you don't have to at all, Stephen. You've written a marvelous book. I want to publish it. All I want from you is 10 new pages, the last 10. Write me 10 new pages at the end and let Clarissa live.
I can't.
Now, Stephen, that isn't asking much.
It's everything. I can't do it. She has to die. She has to.
Why does she have to die?
Because if she doesn't die, I don't know what'll happen to me.
Mama? That's you, Loretta?
It's me.
Well, get your boots off.
Dinner ready?
Just about.
Have you called Stephen? He gets so wrapped up in his writing.
Well, he's not wrapped up now. Listen to him.
He's thinking, Mama. He's walking up and down to help him think. Well, he can't be putting words down every single minute.
He's been walking up and down like that ever since that man left.
What man? Was somebody here?
A Mr. Higgins.
Higgins? Albert Higgins? From Higgins and Hart?
I believe he did say he was a publisher.
Oh, Mama, it was our last hope. You know, every other publisher turned down Steve's novel, and he sent it to Higgins and Hart. But Mr. Higgins was here?
They were up there together for about 15 minutes, and then the great Mr. Higgins came tumbling down the ladder like the devil himself was after him, very red in the face. Looked at me like everything was my fault and catapulted out of here.
Well, you didn't ask Steve what happened?
Loretta, when have I ever asked Mr. Genius-type novel writer Stephen Lake anything? If he feels like telling me, he'll tell me, which he never does.
I'm going to find out.
Good luck is all I can say.
Stephen?
It's impossible. Absolutely impossible.
Stephen!
Impossible, Clarissa. I can't...
Darling, are you all right?
Loretta? Oh, you just get home?
Mrs. McGinnis wanted her windows washed. Darling, Mama said...
I don't want you washing windows.
Stephen, Mama said there was a man here today, a Mr. Higgins?
Albert Higgins.
He really was here?
He has a ski lodge up the road.
Well, he didn't just drop in, did he? What did he want?
He read my book. He wants to publish it.
Oh, Stephen, well, why didn't you say so?
He wants me to change it.
Well, does he want you to change it a lot?
Completely.
Oh. Well, would that be a lot of work?
The last 10 pages. He wants me to let Clarissa live.
Is that all? Oh, Stephen.
What do you mean, is that all? Clarissa is supposed to die. It's all been decided. She has to die. I can't let her go on living just to please Mr. Higgins.
But it's not just Mr. Higgins. Oh, Stephen, I wasn't going to tell you yet, not for a while. But I can't go on doing housework for other people much longer.
I never wanted you to do housework for other people.
But pretty soon, I won't be able to. I'm going to have a baby, Stephen.
You're not. You must be wrong.
Oh, no, I'm not wrong. Not about this.
You must be.
Well, Stephen, aren't you glad? Just a little bit, and coming right now. What with Mr. Higgins wanting to publish your book, why in the spring we'll both be having babies. You'd be having your book, and I'd be having...
I can't let Clarissa live. I can't do it. She has to die. Just the way I wrote it, she has got to die.
Stephen, you're frightening me.
I'm sorry.
What difference would it make if you let Clarissa live?
All the difference in the world.
It's not as if it were real. It's just a book.
It's not just a book. Loretta, I can't talk about it anymore right now.
Well, you think about it, won't you? About rewriting it?
I'll think about it.
Well, Mama says dinner's almost ready.
I'll be right down.
Well, don't be long.
I won't. Clarissa, I can't let you live.
Oh, yes, you can, darling.
I can't.
You can do anything you put your mind to, Stephen. Anything at all. You're such a great man, darling. You can do anything. Absolutely anything at all. You know you can.
Mr. Higgins, this is Stephen Lake. I have to see you, sir. No, right away, if that's possible. I'll come to your place. Yes, it's better that way. In an hour. All right, sir. I'll be there.
Oh, that's my sweet Stephen. My dear love. My own brilliant boy. My Stephen.
I'm glad you called me, Stephen. I must say I was a trifle perturbed at your outburst this afternoon. It seemed such a little thing I was asking, to kill off a character like Clarissa in the last 10 pages when you've spent the entire book constructing her magnetic personality. It's not right.
I have to do it, sir.
But it's cheating, leading your readers up the garden path. I'll tell you something which perhaps I shouldn't, but anyway, I discussed with my wife the possibility of a sequel to this book, using the same central character.
Clarissa?
It's a shame to waste a character like that on one book. There should be another, and perhaps another. How can we do that if you kill her off at the end of your first book?
Mr. Higgins, I've been writing for 7 years steadily. I've never sold anything. 6 years ago, I got married. My wife, Loretta, has been working as a domestic all these years, and her mother goes out every day to do other people's laundry. I haven't brought in 1 red cent in all that time.
But now you will. Lots of red cent.
The house we're living in, that's an abandoned one-room schoolhouse. We bought it a year ago with every cent we had in the savings bank. $400. At a county auction. The room where I work used to be the place where they stored supplies. We got the Franklin stove from a junkyard. If you want the truth, we stole it.
Young risers never have it easy, Stephen.
My wife has never complained, never once. She's scrubbed other women's floors. She's washed their dishes and dusted their furniture and scoured their bathtubs and polished their silver.
Well, in view of all this, I should think you'd jump at the chance to have your novel published.
I do jump at it. I am jumping at it. Only, I can't let Clarissa live. She's got to die 10 pages from the end of the book.
But that's unreasonable.
Don't you think I wanted her to live? Don't you think I kept her alive as long as I could? You think I wanted to kill her? I had to.
I can't for the life of me see why.
Because I'd fallen in love with her.
Oh, come now, Stephen.
Deeply, hopelessly, irrevocably in love.
Now, my boy, I've been a publisher a long time. I've talked to dozens of authors. They all fall in love with characters they've created. It happens all the time.
Clarissa isn't just a character.
Well, of course she is. She didn't exist before you created her, did she?
She exists now.
Good heavens, man. She came out of your mind. She has no life except the one you gave her.
Maybe she did come out of my mind, but now she's got a life of her own.
Well, in a manner of speaking, of course she has. And I want to prolong that life, Stephen. I predict great success for Clarissa. And for you. You and Clarissa are one, you might say.
No, we are not one. We must never be one. I want her out of my life.
On my word, I can't follow you.
Mr. Higgins, if Clarissa is allowed to live, I shall desert my wife.
Desert your wife?
My wife is going to have a baby.
Well, then, why on earth would you desert her?
Because I love Clarissa. I love her with the kind of love I never knew existed. A love that has more power over me than I have over myself. I can't fight it. I can't escape it. It haunts my waking hours and my dreams as well. Those last 10 pages of the book weren't easy to write, Mr. Higgins. But I had to write them. I had to free myself somehow from a love that was destroying my soul, my life.
I don't think you're quite sane, Stephen.
Neither do I.
Suppose we were to publish the book as it is.
Oh, if only you would.
And Clarissa dies. What then?
Why then, she'd go back to being a character in a book.
And if you let her live?
Then I would follow her. My life, my body, even my talent would belong to her. I myself would belong to Clarissa and to her alone.
Everybody talks about love, but nobody does anything about it. Now, here for the first time, we have a man who wants to do something. He wants to kill the lady. It may not be the perfect solution, not one to be universally recommended. Still, it's something. We'll be back shortly with Act Two. It was an American writer who said it, and not so long ago. Novelists, whatever else they may be, are also children, talking to children in the dark. Listen with me now to the second act of Three Women. Stephen is talking to Clarissa, a character he created in one of his books, in the dark.
Clarissa, I can't let you go on living.
But I want to, Stephen.
Of course you want to. We all want to.
But I want to so badly, and it's your fault, Stephen.
Why is it my fault?
Because you gave me such a wonderful life in your book. I enjoy it so much. I can't bear the thought of giving it up.
Neither can I. Neither can I.
To have had a life like that and then to die 10 pages from the end of the book.
I know. When the book is published, you'll be...
I don't see why, Stephen. I really don't.
Because till now it's just been you and me and this room and words on paper. But after the book is published...
What will it be then?
It'll be something that sells for $7.95. $1.50 in the paperback edition.
My goodness, you're counting on a big sale, aren't you?
Just hoping.
But it won't have a big sale if you kill me off, sweetheart.
It might.
What was that? Who came in?
Probably my mother-in-law. She gets home early to get dinner ready.
Will she come up here?
I don't think so. She hardly ever does.
Oh, then let's talk some more about how much you love me.
She is coming up here.
Oh, bother. Well, we'll talk some more later. I am not going to let you kill me off, Stephen. It's too cruel.
Just a minute.
All right to come up?
Of course, Mother. Give me your hand.
What a place. How do you stand it?
I like it.
It's cold, too. Your fire's gone out. You been working?
Oh, no, not much.
Well, what have you been doing? Figuring something out?
Well, trying to.
Figuring out what to do with the last 10 pages of your novel?
More or less.
Stephen, it's not up to me to tell you what to do.
Then don't.
I don't know one book from another, but this book of yours, it's a novel, isn't it?
It's a novel.
About made-up people, right?
Yes.
So what's the difference? You can do what you want with made-up people. They can live as long as you're alive to write about them. True? Is that true?
Yes, that's true.
So, if Mr. Higgins says you should let this character, this Clarissa, go on living, what's the difference? Let the lady live. Who cares? Also, and I don't mean this as a reproach, we can use the money.
Believe me, I know that.
So, if a little lady is worth more alive than I say, let her live.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of work. The way I understand it from Loretta, I mean, you don't have to write the whole book over.
Just the last 10 pages.
Well, what's that? You can knock that off in no time. Well, I better be getting on down and get dinner started. It'll be ready in about half an hour.
I'll be down.
Darling, yes. Yes, sweetheart. The cold hand I held, wet with my tears. Oh, Stephen, that's beautiful. Stirred ever so little. The fingers moved faintly in mine. Oh, Stephen, yes.
That was a very good dinner, Mother.
How would you know? You hardly tasted it.
Well, what I did taste was awfully good.
Nobody's going to eat anymore. I'll clear.
Well, let me help, dear.
Oh, don't be silly, Mama, and I'll finish up. You go back to work if you want to.
Well, all right. I guess I will.
Poor Stephen. He looks awful. He hardly eats anything anymore.
I had a talk with him today about changing a book.
What did you say?
I said, what's the difference? Character in a book can be alive, or who cares?
Stephen cares.
Well, why should he?
Oh, Mama. He's a writer. Writers care about these things. It has something to do with, artistic integrity.
You think maybe somebody's putting things into Stephen's head? Artistic notions, things like that?
Who would do that? Mr. Higgins wants him to change the book.
I wasn't thinking of Mr. Higgins. I was thinking of some woman.
What woman?
I don't know what woman. I don't suppose I should say this, but lots of times I hear him talking up there.
Oh, Mama. Steve talks to himself all the time when he's trying to work things out.
This isn't talking to himself. This is talking to somebody. There's a big difference. And another thing, that mattress he has up there, it looks to me like there's two people been lying on it.
Mama!
All right. I told you I shouldn't say it. Now I'm sorry I did.
He didn't seem very happy about the baby.
I should have kept my mouth shut.
Oh, that's all right. You finish up the dishes. I'm going up to talk to him.
Don't say I said anything. Don't tell him we've been talking.
I won't.
Yeah, just a second.
I'm not disturbing you, am I?
Of course not.
Well, I didn't hear the typewriters, so, Stephen, do you love me?
What kind of a question is that?
It's the kind of question wives are always asking, even if they never say the words.
Yes. I love you.
Are you glad we're going to have a child?
Yes. Yes, I'm glad we're going to have a child.
Well, ask a straight question, you get a straight answer.
That's the way it should be.
So, I'll ask you another one. Why don't you want to change the book?
Loretta, I just don't.
Well, it's not a straight answer.
I know it isn't. I just can't.
Stephen, I'm going to ask you another straight question. Are you interested in some other woman?
Interested? No.
Because if you are, I'll go away.
No, I don't want you to go away.
I'll go away and have the baby someplace else. Till you get over this other woman, then I'll come back. Or if you don't get over her, I'll stay away.
Oh, Loretta.
Stephen, can you swear to me that there's no other woman in your life except me? Can you promise me that?
Loretta, I swear to you, I promise you that I love you. That I love you, that I want you for my wife for always, for as long as we live.
I guess I'll have to be satisfied with that.
It's the truth.
All right. I'll let you work now.
Oh, I thought she'd never leave.
Please, Clarissa, I don't feel like talking to you right now.
Why didn't you tell her about me?
How could I tell her about you? She wouldn't believe me. Nobody would.
Darling, you know what I was thinking while Loretta was going on and on about herself and you and the baby she's going to have? I was thinking, why don't I have a baby? Oh, not in this book, of course, but later on in some other book. I'll have this perfectly gorgeous child who'll have my sweet disposition and your marvelous grace. How about that?
Mama, I asked him if there was somebody else, another woman.
Oh, well?
He said he loved me and wanted me for his wife for as long as we live.
Well, I still hear him talking up there, and it certainly sounds to me like he's talking to somebody.
Oh, Mr. Higgins, come in before you freeze to death.
Winter's closing in on us.
sure is. How are you, Mr. Higgins?
Fine. Fine. I thrive on the cold. Mrs. Lake, your husband's in, I hope.
He's up there, working, I guess.
Has he talked to you about, about Clarissa, keeping her alive?
He just says he doesn't want to.
All right to go up and see him?
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Good luck, Mr. Higgins.
Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Higgins.
Okay to talk to you for a few minutes, Stephen?
I guess so, sure.
I thought I'd like to see how you're getting along.
I'm not.
You haven't done any work? None at all?
Oh, a few pages. They're over there next to the typewriter.
Okay to have a look?
If you want to. Mr. Higgins, if you're here to talk to me about letting Clarissa live.
I most certainly am.
I'm not sure I can take it anymore. My mother-in-law's talking to me about it. My wife talks to me about it.
Stephen, this is very good so far.
And the hardest thing of all is Clarissa talks to me about it. Do you know what she wants now? She wants a baby. My baby.
We could probably work in a baby later on.
Mr. Higgins, if Clarissa has a baby, am I going to love it more than Loretta's baby?
Stephen, these pages are very good. Now write the last couple of pages.
I've got to kill her off, Mr. Higgins, and never write about her anymore. Never.
Oh, now, Stephen, stop it. Calm down and try to be reasonable.
I can't be reasonable. I love my wife, Mr. Higgins. I want to live with my wife and our child. I can't live with her and Clarissa, too. No, Mr. Higgins. Clarissa has to die just the way I wrote it in the first place. If she dies in this book, then I can't write about her anymore. And if I don't write about her anymore, she won't exist.
Stephen, I won't publish the book if Clarissa dies. I've put it to you straight. Don't you think you owe it to your wife, to your mother-in-law, to yourself, to make this little concession?
Concession?
What will happen to them if you don't?
What will happen to them if I do?
Money is the root of all evil, and killing is certainly evil. Yet, here we have a man who wants to kill and is letting himself be talked out of killing for money. It leaves us with the perplexing question, what is evil? Maybe we'll find out when we return shortly for Act 3. Pity the poor novelist, alone with his thoughts, his visions, his conceits, his fancies, his only solid, substantial companion, his typewriter.
Stephen?
What is it, Clarissa?
Everybody wants me to live except you.
I know.
And you're the one who loves me.
I know.
Nobody else even knows me. Except from reading the book, and that's not really knowing.
Clarissa, I wish you'd let me work.
How am I doing?
You're living.
Oh,
Just barely, but you're living.
I thought I was. Because I was feeling so warm and loving about you. I know the only reason you're keeping me alive is for the money. You can't fool me, Stephen. If there was a way to kill me and still make the money, I bet you'd take it.
There ought to be a way. Clarissa, you've given me an idea.
Oh, it makes me very happy if I've given you something. You've given me everything. It's about time I gave something back to you.
Mr. Higgins, Stephen Lake. Yes, I have an idea. I have to talk to you about it right away. Can I come to your house? Well, that's all right. I have snowshoes. I'll be there in, say, half an hour. Thanks, Mr. Higgins.
What kind of an idea have you got?
Never you mind.
I'm coming with you.
No, I don't want you tagging along.
I want to tag along.
Where are my snowshoes?
Right there. Now, what's this big idea you have to tell Mr. Higgins?
None of your business.
Is it about me?
As a matter of fact, it is.
So then it is my business. Stephen, you're not going to kill me off, are you? I thought that was all decided. Are you?
Now, my idea is this, Mr. Higgins. I'll finish up the book just the way you want it.
Good.
Clarissa stirs and comes to life. Whatever it was she was dying of, she only went into coma, etc., etc. I'll work it out. I'll give you the book in a couple of days, maybe by tomorrow.
Good.
Then, if you still like it...
Oh, I'll like it.
It's yours. Only, I want it in my contract that whatever money the book makes goes to my wife. I want her to get all the proceeds.
But it's your book.
Why, I just happened to write it, that's all. And writing it... I nearly ruined my wife's happiness and my own. I don't want any money for that.
Stephen, it seems to me that you're simply feeling guilty about your feelings for Clarissa.
I am. Guilty as hell. And about the other books, the ones after this one.
You're not going to tell me you don't want any of that money either.
I want somebody else to write those things, not me.
You're joking.
Mr. Higgins, I've got to get Clarissa out of my head. And the only way to do that is to put her into somebody else's head. Let somebody else keep her alive, not me.
Well, I suppose we could find a ghostwriter, but at least let me have those last 10 pages with Clarissa alive.
Mr. Higgins, you'll have them. Tonight.
My, you are busy, aren't you?
Very.
You're working on the new ending to the novel, aren't you?
That's right.
And I get to live and live and live and live.
Clarissa, it's cold in here. Why don't you do something useful, like putting some wood in the stove?
I don't know how.
You don't know much, do you?
Enough.
Okay, I'll do it.
Make a nice big fire, and then we can sit and talk about what's going to happen next.
What do you mean by next?
And all the other books, the ones you're going to write after this one.
Now blow on this fire, will you?
Oh.
At least you can do that.
Okay. Go on, tell me about the other books.
I don't know anything about the other books.
Would you like to hear some of my ideas?
Not really. Well, that's enough. You can stop blowing. It's caught fire. Ah, that feels good.
I think the next novel ought to be in Venice.
Clarissa, I have made a deal with Mr. Higgins. When I finish these 10 pages, thereby keeping you alive, I shall turn them over to him to replace the original 10. And then I shall write no more books.
Well,
no more books about you, anyway.
But Mr. Higgins thinks I'm wonderful. He wants lots of books about me.
He's going to get lots of books about you, but they won't be written by me.
But who'll write them?
A ghost.
A ghost? I don't want to be written by a ghost. I'm part ghost myself.
Oh, he'll be a real live man. A ghost writer. That's what they are called in the publishing business.
But it won't be you?
Definitely not me.
But it will be a real live man.
Yes. And now, if you'll excuse me, I'd like to get back to work.
I wonder, will he be as handsome as you?
Handsomer, probably.
I wonder, will he love me the way you do?
For his sake, I hope not.
I wonder, will I love him?
Why should you love him?
Why not?
You never loved me.
Oh, that's the way you wrote it. I couldn't love anyone.
Except yourself.
But he might write me differently, mightn't he?
He shouldn't. He should follow the character exactly as I've set it down in the first book.
But if he falls in love with me, he might want it changed so I could fall in love with him. It would be so much more convenient for everybody.
Clarissa, you wouldn't.
Wouldn't what?
Fall in love. Fall in love with the ghostwriter. Would you?
How should I know?
Well, you wouldn't have his child. You wouldn't do that.
I think I'll put another piece of wood on the fire. Or would you rather do it?
Clarissa, would you have his child?
There. Oh, look. That's a nice fire. Lovely.
Answer me. Would you have his child?
Well, Stephen, if that's the way he writes it, I guess I'll have to. Stephen, what are you doing?
Oh, no. You're not going to have his child. No.
Stephen.
You're going back to where you were in the original. You're going to die 10 pages from the end of the book.
You're not going to burn the new pages, Stephen. You're not. Don't.
Help! Help! Someone help me! I'm on fire! Help me! The quilt! Get me the quilt, please! Help me!
I'll get it, Mama.
Mrs. Lake.
Mr. Higgins. It's Mr. Higgins, Mama.
Oh. I haven't seen you since the funeral, Mr. Higgins. Thank you for the beautiful flowers.
May I come in for a minute?
Why, of course. Come in.
Would you, like a cup of tea, Mr. Higgins? I was just about to put the kettle on.
Thank you, no, Mrs. Lake. I haven't wanted to intrude before this on your grief. Such a terrible accident.
Mama and I can't figure out how it happened. You know, Stephen knew that Franklin stove so well. He'd used it for years. And then...
It was like it sort of blew up in his face.
Mrs. Lake, he was working on the new ending for the novel when it happened. At least I think he was.
Well, I don't know for sure, Mr. Higgins.
He promised me I'd have the new pages that same night. He acted as though he couldn't wait to get started.
Oh, then I imagine that's what he was doing.
Mrs. Lake, would you mind if I'm not intruding? Could I go up and take a look? You see, if I can find them, I can just substitute them for the original last 10 pages, and we can go right to work. I think we might be able to publish the book this spring.
Why, that would be wonderful.
At least you'd have a little money coming in.
Oh, Stephen would have liked that.
So, is it all right if I take a look?
Why, surely. You don't mind if I don't go up there with you. I haven't wanted to somehow since the fire.
No, that's quite all right. I'll go up by myself.
Trapdoor's not locked, Mr. Higgins. Make it all right?
Yes. Thank you. Fine.
Oh, I suppose I should have cleaned up that place, but I just couldn't.
No hurry. When the time comes, I'll do it.
It never entered my head to look for those 10 pages.
No, they're mine.
Mama, if he finds the pages and publishes the book, and if it's a success, that'll be nice, won't it?
Mrs. Lake.
What is it, Mr. Higgins?
You found them?
I found something. I found these 10 pages.
Oh, thank the good Lord.
All neatly stacked beside his typewriter.
Oh, I'm so glad, Mr. Higgins.
Glad? Have you read them?
Well, no.
Well, listen. Lovely, gorgeous Clarissa lifted her beautiful head. She wasn't after all. Well?
But that's not the way Stephen writes.
I could hardly believe my eyes. That creamy complexion was beginning to pinken. Pinken?
There's no such word as pinken.
My adorable sweetheart had only fainted and wasn't at all. My goodness, but I was happy.
Now, I ask you...
Stephen didn't write that way at all.
Nothing like that.
And who did? Who did write this awful trash?
Mr. Higgins, you don't think that...
Well, somebody wrote it. It's typed on his typewriter. You don't suppose it is possible that Stephen went mad and wrote this awful stuff while he was unbalanced?
Mr. Higgins, if Stephen was a certified lunatic, he couldn't write 10 pages like those there.
Do you want them to keep for any reason?
Oh, I don't think so.
Well, I'll take them home with me and burn them.
Mr. Higgins, does this mean that there won't be any book at all?
Why, I hadn't thought...
I would so like to have a book of Stephen's published.
Tell you what we'll do, Mrs. Lake. We'll go ahead and publish the original version, the one where Clarissa dies. You say something?
No. Sounded like a ghost, kind of.
It really does sound like a ghost.
Must be the wind.
Huh. Well, I'll be getting along. And don't you worry, you two. There'll be a little money coming in. It's still a good novel, even with Clarissa dying. Too bad, though. I'd hoped Clarissa would have a long and happy life, but such is fate.
And the moral of the story is... What is the moral of the story? How's this? Lie if you like, but never believe your own lies. Or, the man who fools himself is a fool indeed. Well, something like that. You figure it out. I'll be back shortly. The gift of youth is ours for just a little while. Fame is capricious, and money slips through our fingers. Health is a godsend, subject to recall. Even the benison of love can elude us, or it can wither in our hearts. But the blessings of imagination, they belong to us forever and ever. Our cast included Ruth Ford, George Petrie, Elspeth Eric, Joan Loring, and Roger DeKoven. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown.
From the Mutual Studios in Washington, I'm Fulton Lewis, and that's the top of the news as it looks from here.
Come in. Welcome. I am E.G. Marshall, and I have a ghost story to tell you, but a most unusual ghost story, since it violates all the established rules. You know the rules for a ghost story. It must be set on some desolate, windswept moor, or perhaps in a ruined, isolated mansion, or a lonely, deserted castle. However, this spine-tingling tale actually takes place in a modern, luxury, high-rise apartment building, and in broad daylight.
I don't want to die, George, please. I don't want to die.
Margaret, darling, listen to me.
No.
Margaret, it would be better.
Better for who?
For you, dear, for you.
I have very little left, George. Please, just let me live a little longer.
Margaret, life means nothing to you now.
I know, but just let me live a little bit longer.
I can't, Margaret. I can't.
Our mystery drama, The Man Who Heard Voices, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Sam Dan and stars Larry Haynes. It is sponsored in part by the Kellogg Company, makers of Kellogg's Special K cereal. I'll be back shortly with Act 1.
Hi, son. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Hi, Junior.
Kellogg's Special K presents Junior Gives Up,
Junior, why aren't you eating your Special K? It's your favorite cereal.
Oh, just 'cause.
Just 'cause why, honey?
Just 'cause Darla said some evil things about it. That's just 'cause why.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Hi, Darla.
Hi, sis.
Hi, Junior.
Darla, what did you tell Junior about his Special K?
Daddy, all I told him was that Special K is good for her.
Yeah, and anything that's good for me never seems to taste good.
But, Junior, you already know that Special K tastes good.
Who do I believe? Darla or my taste buds?
What's that, son?
Oh, nothing, Dad.
Son, Special K is America's favorite high-protein cereal. It's got minerals, vitamins, iron, and all those good, nutritious things. But it got to be so popular over the years because it tastes good, too.
You mean it's good for me and tastes good, too?
Right, son.
Right, Dad.
Right, Junior.
Right, Mom.
Right indeed. Start your balanced breakfast with Kellogg's Special K. It's nutritious and delicious.
Right, Dad.
This is WOR New York, your station for the Mystery Theater.
No matter what you're saving for, that's what Suburban Savings for Suburban.
Suburban Savings offers you a regular savings account with flexibility. You can add any amount to your account whenever you wish. Withdraw whenever you want. Suburban Savings pays a 5.25% annual interest rate on regular savings paid quarterly, which earns an annual effective yield of 5.47%. Interest is compounded continuously from day of deposit to day of withdrawal, as long as $50 is maintained in the account to the end of the quarter. Come into Suburban Savings and open an account with flexibility. Our regular savings account in New Jersey at Bayonne, Edgewater, Elmwood Park, Emerson, Hackettstown, Morris Plains, Nutley, Paramus, and Sparta.
At 42, George Wesley Sanderson is handsome, intelligent, and wealthy. He is married to a most beautiful woman. He is a partner in a prestigious law firm. He has a host of friends because he is gracious, considerate, sensitive, and obliging. And so, you look at him sipping his morning coffee in his luxurious apartment in New York City, and you say to yourself, here indeed is one of fortune's favorites. How wonderful life must be for George Wesley Sanderson. But we have invaded his privacy. We have caught him alone and off guard. And so we see a look of terror in his eyes. And no wonder, because George Wesley Sanderson hears a voice. A woman's voice.
It's time for my pills, George.
The voice is clear and distinct.
May I have my pills, George?
But George is alone in the room.
My pills. George?
Not only is George Wesley Sanderson alone in the room, but the voice belongs to a woman 10 years dead.
Margaret. Margaret.
George, you must give me my pills.
Oh, no.
George. George. I understand. I forgive you. George. I forgive you.
Hello?
Georgie, get on the 10 o'clock plane and come down. Georgie? George, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Sally.
We all decided that you should be down here.
Well,
Well, you what? Are you all right, George?
yes, I'm fine.
Good. Get on the plane.
Well, darling, somebody has to work.
Oh, come on. That silly place runs itself.
Goodbye, dear.
Georgie, are you sure you're all right?
Yes, I'm fine, and, really, I have to get to the office.
I notice you'd rather get to the office than fly to me.
Darling, it's not what I'd rather do, it's what I have to do.
My next husband will be a man with absolutely no ethics at all. Goodbye.
My name, as you know, is George Wesley Sanderson. And I must talk to somebody, unburden myself, but there is nobody. Oh, my wife loves me. My father-in-law is most understanding. I have good friends. I could confess to a priest. There's a psychiatrist. But you see, each in his own way would fail me because no one would accept the basic point of my problem. No one would ever believe that I'm a man who hears voices. There are times when I can hear what people think, what they're going to think. And there are times when I can hear people who are miles away, or even it started, 15 years ago. I was married to my first wife then. Her name was Margaret. She was 23 years old, vivacious, active, loved sports. She could even beat me in tennis, but she did it with such charm, I didn't mind it a bit.
That's out.
Oh, that looked into me.
Okay. If you want the point, you can have the point. You should have a handicap anyhow.
Okay. Just look out for this ace. An ace. How'd you like that, huh? I say, how'd you like that? Margaret? Margaret, is something wrong?
No. I'm fine.
Well, you had a funny look on your face.
Did I? It's just...
Just what?
Nothing. I just had a funny little twinge in my back. But it's gone now. Your serve.
Then and there, I heard a voice. It was the voice of our doctor.
You both should know the truth. We don't know what's wrong with Margaret. She won't be able to walk. She'll have to stay in bed. For a while, anyway. These pills will keep her alive.
Exactly 1 year later, the doctor spoke those very words to us in the hospital. You, sent for me, Mr. Cartwright?
Yes, George, sit down.
Thank you, sir.
George, I read your brief on the Hollingsworth case. Brilliant. Is that what you'd like to specialize in? Criminal law?
Yes, sir.
Good. This firm could use a crackerjack trial lawyer. Let's have dinner one night this week and start making some plans for you.
Well, sir, I really can't go out much at night.
You know?
No, you see, my wife is bedridden.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that.
We don't even know what it is. One of those mysterious ailments. Anyhow, she has to have constant attention. I have a woman who stays with her during the day, but at night I can't leave her alone.
Well, that's too bad. We'll arrange for lunch, perhaps.
Then I heard his voice. His silent voice, but to me, it was crystal clear.
Too bad. We may have to forget about George. It's a tragedy. But if he wants to be an 8-hour-a-day man, he'll remain in an 8-hour-a-day job.
That's all for now, George. I just wanted to let you know how pleased I am with your work. And the other partners are, too.
Well, thank you, sir.
Hi, Dad. Your secretary said you were busy, but I'll only be a minute. Well, hello. Who is this?
This is one of our new young attorneys, George Wesley Sanderson, and my daughter, Sally. How do you do?
George Wesley Sanderson. Even sounds like a great lawyer.
Now, dear, save that ravishing smile for where it'll do you some good. George Sanderson is a married man.
And once again, I heard a voice. Sally's voice.
I don't care if he is married. I want him. I never believed it, but now I know it's absolutely true. There is such a thing as love at first sight. I love him.
Thank you, dear. But I don't want any more. It's time for my pill.
Oh, yes, so it is. I'll get it for you.
Those pills, they're like a lifeline.
Well, let's be thankful they work.
Poor George. You've become a full-time nurse. And in addition, you've got a full-time job. You really don't get much sleep, darling. You have to set an alarm every 2 hours to give me my pill.
Darling, we stood up together and we took a vow, for richer, for poorer, for better, for worse, in sickness and health.
Till death do us part.
Let's change the subject, huh?
Okay. Well, how'd it go at work today?
Oh, everybody flipped for the way I handled the Hollingsworth case.
Oh, will it mean a promotion?
Well, maybe, but more important is the additional money.
Oh, George.
Now what?
If you become important, we'll be expected to entertain.
Oh, no, nothing of the sort. I'm going to run my business the way I want. I intend to do my work during the day, in the office. I don't have to socialize with people. Merit, ability, that's what should count. And for the third time that day, I heard a voice. This time Margaret's.
Oh, Lord. I want to live. I'm not much use. I can't do a thing. I'm a drag on the man I love. I'm good for absolutely nothing. But I want to live.
And we have a clear precedent here. When Theodore Roosevelt was police commissioner of the city of New York, the question of injury incurred while making a citizen's arrest...
Do you always talk to yourself?
Oh, I happen to be dictating into this recorder. How did you get in here?
Being the boss's daughter ought to give a girl certain privileges. I came by hoping you might have pity on me.
Pity?
I'm famished. You might take me to lunch.
Well,
Well, what? It wouldn't hurt you with the chief. Might even pave the way to a promotion.
Well, on the other hand, it might backfire.
How?
Well, how does your father regard married male employees who take his daughter to lunch?
I don't know. It's never happened before. As you legal types might say, there are no precedents. Come on. Take a chance. Live dangerously.
I'll give my hat.
Darling, I'm sorry. I need my pill.
No, it's okay. It's okay, darling. Here you are, dear.
Thank you.
There. Now, just let me set the alarm again.
You must be exhausted.
No, not really. Are you feeling any better?
Yes, a little. I was so tired when you came home, though, we couldn't even talk. And I looked forward to our talk so much. Anything interesting happen today?
No, just a lot of routine.
What did you have for lunch?
Lunch. Let's see. I just had a sandwich at the desk.
Oh, George. You should go out.
No, dear. No, I shouldn't. But I did. She would drop by 2-3 times a week. And it just became, well, a thing we did. We were friends, that's all. I knew she was in love with me, but I was discovering something else. Something very unsettling, very disturbing. I was falling in love with her, too. I tried to fight it. How about right here?
Okay.
There. Well, now that we've scared away every fish between here and Europe...
I wouldn't know what to do with a fish if I caught one.
Well, let's just drift for a bit, huh?
You didn't have to say that.
Say what?
Drift. Haven't we been doing just that since the day we met?
Yes, I suppose we have.
What are we going to do, George?
I don't know.
I'm willing to settle.
Settle?
For half a loaf.
Oh, no. That wouldn't work. After a while, you'd get to hate me.
No, George, I wouldn't.
Well, I'd hate myself.
Do you still love her?
No. No, it's a terrible thing, but I don't love her anymore. You know, that happens to people. Just as they can fall in love, they can also fall out of love. It's just that the timing and the circumstances are bad for Margaret and for me.
But if you no longer love her...
Well, how could I ever divorce her? Hey, where are we going?
I don't know. But the one thing I can't do is just to stand still.
Nothing and no one in this world ever really stands still. Wheels are always turning. Gears are shifting. Minds are changing. Perhaps slowly, imperceptibly, subtly. Even a marriage vow contains the seeds of its own dissolution, for it says, "Until death do us part." We'll be back shortly with Act 2.
Thank you, thank you. More than 75,000 letters, and they're still coming in. I am High Brown, producer of Radio Mystery Theater. You've said such beautiful things, like bravo, 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 a breath of fresh air, and superb production. I love you. But there's one problem. So many of you ask questions, it's going to take weeks sorting through all that mail to give you an answer. So if you need a quick reply to a specific question, please write again, and we'll try to answer promptly. Write Mystery Theater, Box 5152, Radio City Station, New York 10019. That's Mystery Theater, Box 5152, Radio City Station, New York 10019. And please do keep listening. We hope Radio Mystery Theater is here to stay.
WOR New York, your Mystery Theater station.
Hey, Ma, what's for dinner? Hey, Ma, what you got? Hey, Ma, will it be much longer? My hunger's getting stronger and I can't wait. She loves her family. She wants the best. She does all that she can do. She lets ShopRite do the rest. Hey, Ma, what's for dinner? Hey, Ma, what you got?
Here's a dinner suggestion from your ShopRite supermarket. Grade A rock Cornish hens, just 59 cents a pound. U.S. #1 Idaho baking potatoes, 5 pounds for 79 cents. And for dessert, Flavor King ice cream, half gallon, 69 cents.
She wants the best. She does all that she can do. She lets ShopRite do the rest. Hey, Ma, what's for dinner? ShopRite has the answer.
George Wesley Sanderson is in a motorboat just off Long Island on a beautiful day with a beautiful woman who loves him. And to make it perfect, he also loves her. However, there's a complication. George Wesley Sanderson is married, and he takes his vow seriously.
We'll do something, Sally.
You'll have to do something, George. People don't stand still.
Yes, I know.
You can't freeze a relationship. It grows better every day or it becomes worse. You fall in love because another person has something you need, and sometimes it's the terrible truth. When that person loses what attracted you in the first place, love also goes with it.
I know.
So many people can't face up to it. They're unable to end a thing that really no longer exists.
I love you, Sally.
I love you, George, but I'm human. If I can't have you, sooner or later I'll face it, and then I'll make other arrangements for my life.
Sally, wait for me.
Oh, I'll wait, George. But I can't promise to wait forever.
Just then I heard another voice. It was a voice I'd never heard before, but there was no mistaking who it could be and what the meaning was.
And do you, George, take Sally for your lawful wedded wife, to have and to hold?
Oh, Sally, darling, don't ask me how or when or why. But
George, look out, you'll upset the boat.
who cares, Sally? It's going to happen.
What's going to happen?
You and me, we're going to happen. We're going to be married.
But...
No buts. Just believe me.
I believe you, George. I believe you.
That was good. I was so hungry.
Oh, Margaret, that's a good sign.
Oh, I don't know. Sometimes I just wish...
What? What do you wish?
Oh, nothing. I don't want to talk about it. Well, now, you must have had an interesting morning.
Oh, just so-so.
Well, what was it? What did you have to do at the office? You never did tell me.
No, I didn't. Well, we had to take a deposition.
Oh?
And we just spent the morning listening to witnesses. And, Margaret? Margaret.
What? Oh, dear, what is it, George?
Don't close your eyes yet. It's time for your pill. Here, take it down with some juice.
Oh.
You know, that's all we'd have to do, just forget one pill.
Oh, George, darling, maybe we'd both be better off.
Good morning, George.
Morning, sir.
Sit down.
Thank you.
Now, George, I want you to go to Washington. I know you have personal problems.
Yes, sir.
I want you to argue the Stillwell case before the Court of Appeals.
Well, sir,
You can win this case for us. You're a natural. Lawyers like you come along once in a generation.
Yes, but Mr. Cartwright...
The trial date is in 6 weeks. Now, I'm sure you can find a way to resolve your problem. You can buy nursing care while you're gone.
Sir, it's more than that.
I'm sure it is. Now, I don't want to intrude in your personal affairs. Although I understand I'm indirectly affected. My daughter, evidently, is quite taken with you. Well, that's between the two of you.
I assure you.
Of what? The two of you are in love. It's a very difficult situation. But it's your situation. For my part, I need you for the Stillwell trial in Washington. Now, don't give me your answer right now.
And then I heard a voice. And this voice I knew very well because it was my own voice. And I could hear myself say,
If it please the court, the prosecution claims that the defendant, Anna Stillwell, has committed the crime of high treason against the government of the United States.
George? George!
Oh, what?
Well, that's what I want to ask you. What happened? You turned pale. Is everything all right?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir, everything's fine. Just fine. I believe that I will be able to plead the Stillwell case after all.
Has she been taking these pills regularly?
Oh, religiously, Doctor. The woman we have here in the daytime is absolutely trustworthy, and of course I'm here all night.
And he's a tyrant about it, Doctor.
Well, he should be.
Doctor, what about Margaret?
Well, for the first time since this thing struck, I have good news.
Good news?
I say good. These words, good and bad, are relative.
Yes, but what do you mean by good?
Well, for the first time, I can detect no further signs of deterioration.
I see.
Unless some other complication occurs. Margaret can live on indefinitely, provided she takes her pills on a regular basis.
Oh, we'll see to that, Doctor. We'll see to that.
Well, keep in touch if anything unusual happens, and I'll be here again next week.
Yes, I'll see you to the door, Doctor.
Goodbye, Margaret.
Goodbye, Doctor.
Oh, a lovely day, isn't it, George?
Yes.
Oh, about those pills, George. Make sure you never run out. And she must have one every 2 hours.
That's what his speaking voice was saying to me. The little amenities, the weather, don't forget her pills, and so on. But there was another voice. His inner voice. And I could hear it so clearly, so plainly.
Poor kids. I'm glad I don't have to decide. She's in such terrible pain. Constantly. Well, that's between the two of them. Or maybe it's up to him. I only know I wouldn't want to be in his shoes for all the money in the world.
Goodbye, George.
Goodbye, Doctor, and thank you for everything.
George? George?
Yes, dear.
I'd like a pillow.
Yes, dear, I'm coming. Here we are. Now, does that feel more comfortable?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Margaret, look at me.
I'm looking at you, darling.
I wanted to hear her voice. Not her speaking voice, but her thinking voice, her feeling voice, the way I'd heard it once before. But this ability, this gift, this talent, call it what you will, doesn't work at my command. It comes and goes of its own accord. I wanted to know how she felt, what she really wished for. If a certain decision was to be made, I wanted her to share in it, but try as I might, I simply couldn't hear her inner voice. And I knew that the decision, one way or another, would have to be mine. All mine, mine alone.
I'm looking at you, darling.
Margaret, are you in pain?
Oh, doesn't matter, really. The pill takes care of it. Oh, it's such a miraculous pill. It takes care of everything. Oh, I think I'd better sleep for a while, George. I just want to sleep.
Margaret, what do you mean? Please tell me, what do you mean by sleep? Margaret? Oh, yeah, I'll get that. Hello?
George?
Oh, yes, Mr. Cartwright.
Can you arrange to fly to Washington a week from Friday?
A week from Friday?
Yes, for a pre-trial on the Stillwell case.
Well, sir, I hadn't expected to...
You told me just yesterday in the office that you'd handle it.
Well, yes, sir, but that was because I thought I had 6 more weeks.
Well, you do. This'll just involve you down there for a day or two this time.
I understand.
I'll have Miss Gordon book your flight.
Well, a week from Friday, that's about 10 days, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we'll have all the papers for you at the office tomorrow. And I'm taking you off everything else. Just remember, we want this case.
Yes, sir.
Goodbye, George.
Goodbye, sir.
George?
Oh, darling, I thought you were asleep.
The ringing of the phone woke me. I thought it was the alarm for my pill.
Oh, no, we still have another hour for that.
Now, what's supposed to happen a week from Friday?
Just a lunch date with Mr. Cartwright and a client.
He must like you a lot, doesn't he?
Well, I'm not really a bad lawyer.
Oh, George. I wish I could be of help to you. I wish there was something I could do.
Here I am, George.
Oh, hi. I'm sorry I'm late.
Dad tells me how busy you are. I ordered you your extra dry gimlet.
Thanks, I could use it.
Dad also tells me you're going to Washington.
Yes. That is, I think so.
You think so? I understand the plans are all set.
Well, the fact is, I know I'll be going, but,
But what?
Oh, nothing.
Once the trial begins, there's no telling how long it may run. These government things can go on for months.
Yes, I know.
How about...
How about Margaret?
Yes, Margaret.
Let's not talk about Margaret.
But, George...
Please.
I said I'd be satisfied with half a loaf.
Right now, I don't want to talk about it.
But, George, I'm entitled...
There are things I must decide.
I want to help you.
No.
But when people are in love, there should be no barriers. Nothing held back.
Sally, you have a lot to learn about love.
George, I won't be spoken
Please,
to
Sally,
like...
don't press me. Don't push me, huh? I don't care who you are, how deeply you love. There are certain things I must decide on my own.
George Wesley Sanderson is faced with a decision. And it's a decision a man doesn't make lightly, nor does he make it every day. Because what George must decide is whether or not to kill his wife. We shall return shortly with Act 3.
Ever had a tall, frosty glass of Amplitude? Well, if your beer is Budweiser, you've had it often. Amplitude is a fancy word for the entire taste phenomenon, the total experience of flavor. Next time you take a healthy swallow of Bud, watch what happens. Think about the sensations you're experiencing. Notice how the flavor of Bud comes on nice and easy. Not too strong, not too quick, just right. Notice the clean, crisp togetherness of Bud's taste. Everything in perfect balance, with no single element jumping out at you. And there'll be no aftertaste either, no hanging on. And you'll be refreshed and ready for another glassful. Actually, Bud drinkers have been experiencing Amplitude for years, but they never phrase it that way. They just say Budweiser, and that says it all. Anheuser-Busch. St. Louis.
WOR New York, your station for the Mystery Theater.
Vacancy decontrol in New York. You've heard about it, haven't you? Tonight you'll hear more about it on WOR, on the Wingate News Digest, 10 o'clock. I'm going to take a microphone and talk to a man who rents apartments. He's a real estate agent. And oddly enough, he is very much on the side of tenants. He says you can take an apartment that had been rented for $250, you move out, and if you can get it, fine. You've got $500 a month. What's it doing? Driving young people, old people, out of the city, he says. That has got to be repealed. Also, a visit with Oscar the Butcher in Sheepshead Bay in Brooklyn. He says you keep hearing from government officials that the cost of beef is going down, and he's going out of business because it's so high he can't charge his customers that much. John Wingate, tonight, 10 o'clock, WOR.
It is 1 minute before 2 in the morning in the apartment of George Wesley Sanderson. An alarm clock is set to go off exactly on the hour. It must awaken George so that he can give his wife, Margaret, a pill. A pill she takes every 2 hours. Without her regular pill, Margaret will die.
George? George, wake up. George?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Oh, I was afraid for a minute that the clock wouldn't wake you.
Yes, I'm sorry. I was sleeping pretty soundly.
Poor George, you never get any
No,
rest.
it's all right. It's all right. Here, darling, take your pill.
Oh. Thank you, darling. Thank you. And now go back to sleep.
Well, I better reset the alarm.
You're so good to me, George.
There. There it is. I've set it for 4. Good night, darling.
Good night.
I turned to look at her. Her eyes were closed. She was only 28, but her face was lined. Her skin was drawn and flushed, and she looked old. Old. Where was the pert, vivacious Margaret who only a few months before had been bursting with life? Wasn't she as good or as bad as already? Wasn't it a mercy to end her suffering? Wasn't her living merely a sham and a pretense? Suppose I would somehow forget to give her the next pill. What would I be ending? And then once again I heard the voices. But these were voices from the past. The recent past.
This firm could use a crackerjack criminal lawyer.
I love you, George. I love you.
We have plans for you.
I'll wait for you, darling. But I can't promise to wait forever.
We're all pleased with your work.
Why hold on to a relationship that no longer exists?
I can't do a thing. I'm absolutely useless. But I want to live. I want to live.
George? George, the alarm. George, wake up. George, it's time for my pill. George, wake up. You must wake up. George?
I heard the alarm, Margaret. I heard it.
George, you must wake up.
Believe me, Margaret, I'm doing it for you.
George. George, I must have my pills. George, wake up.
Oh, believe me, Margaret. Please believe me, it isn't Sally or the job. I admit they both tempt me, but I don't want to see you suffer anymore.
Aren't you going to give me my pills? George, let me live. Just a little longer, please.
I'm so tired, Margaret. So tired.
George, please.
So mixed up.
George, don't pretend to be asleep.
I'm doing it for you, Margaret. Maybe me, too, but mostly for you.
Oh, George. Darling, I forgive you. I forgive you.
Sit down, George. Sit down. Now, you didn't have to come into the office today.
Yes, I know, sir, but she's been a week, and, well, things go on. I'm due to leave for Washington tomorrow.
Yes, we wondered whether, under the circumstances, to ask for a delay.
Well, there's no point to that, sir. What I need now is lots of work.
Well, we have lots of work around here.
George, I've been trying to reach you to tell you how sorry...
Sally, it's all right.
Now, there is a possibility that you people have something to discuss. Excuse me for a moment.
Well, Sally, here we are.
Yes. How did it happen, George?
Oh, it's something that could have happened at any time. She just fell asleep and she didn't wake up.
And now what, George?
And now we can be married. That is, if you'll still have me.
Oh, darling.
I have to go to Washington.
I'll go with you. And you know, of course, what Dad's been talking about.
Well, actually, I don't.
Well, we're fairly direct people, all of us. Dad was saying that since you and I would be married, there'd be a partnership in the firm as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, as long as we're fairly direct people, I may as well tell you that I deserve it.
Darling, do you know that this is the first time I've ever seen you smile?
Oh, I smile all the time.
You listen to me, George Wesley Sanderson. You're going to live. You're going to travel. You're going to mingle with all the people worth knowing in government, politics, the theater, art.
Wait. Now, when do I work?
Oh, you can work as hard as you like. As long as you remember you have to play hard, too.
When do we start?
Right now.
That was, 15 years ago? I was 30, she was 25. And the years haven't changed either of us. Well, not very much, anyhow. Life has been full of excitement, zest, and, of course, satisfaction. Because I've won some very well-publicized cases in this talk of a judgeship, but that's all for the future. The important thing is that for almost 15 years since she died, I haven't heard voices. You know, those voices. Until last week. And it happened when I was alone in the morning at breakfast.
May I have my pills, George? My pills. I want to live. Please, George. My pills.
And I've kept hearing them. I don't know what to make of it, because after all, she did say she's forgiven me. Why should I hear her now? Why? I don't understand it. Why now? In the case of delay versus international power, the precedent is clearly stated. Sally, what are you doing here?
I'm here to tell you about a precedent which is going to be established right now.
Well, I thought you were in London.
I was, and then I decided to come back here for some litigation.
Litigation? With whom?
With you.
Oh? What kind of litigation?
I want to review the basis for our marriage. It is rooted in the factors of common interests. We're both alive. We like to do things, go places. Do you agree?
Sure.
So why aren't we going and doing?
Well, we...
Well, we what? Do you realize that for the past year you've been working day and night?
Well, darling, it so happens we have some crucial cases.
Do you want our relationship to change permanently? Do you want us to drift apart?
Do you know you're a nut?
Darling, a long time ago we talked about this. Nothing, no one ever stands still. People change, and if they do, so does the basis of their relationship.
All right. We'll go skiing.
Turn your work over to the bright young eager beavers and let's you and I start having fun again.
And we did. We traveled, we played, we danced, we enjoyed ourselves. And I even managed to get some good work done, too. We were never so happy. There was, of course, one small, dark cloud for me. I could hear Margaret's voice.
pills, George. Aren't you going to give me my pills? Please?
Penny for your thoughts, George.
Oh, well, you couldn't buy my high-priced thoughts for a penny.
You seem to be in a state of reverie,
I was?
as if you were listening to something.
Oh, must be your imagination.
Why, as if you were listening to voices.
Voices? Are you sure you're all right?
Positively spooky.
Spooky? Here in our apartment in the bright sunlight? Oh, no, you've got to look for your spooks in the middle of night.
Well, I know what we both need.
All right, tell me.
A good, hard hour of tennis.
Oh, now, darling, I have to be at the office.
You don't have to be anywhere except with me.
Okay, you're on. For 1 hour.
That's out.
This set has one more game. Your luck won't hold forever.
Oh, no, I don't need luck. I happen to be good.
Oh, that was definitely out. I think I'm going to break your service. Well? George, what's the matter?
It's nothing, dear.
Well, I'm waiting. Serve. What is it, George? Is something wrong?
No, I'm fine.
You have a funny look on your face.
Have I?
Are you sure you're all right, dear?
Yes, I'm sure. It's just...
Just what?
Oh, it's nothing. I just had this little twinge in my back. But it's gone now. But it wasn't gone. It wasn't much, but it didn't go away. And so that afternoon, instead of going to the office, I went to the doctor.
I can't see anything. Could be a muscle strain. Try a little heat at home. If it persists, we'll give you some physiotherapy.
Doctor, it's nothing serious, would you say?
Well, right now it doesn't look serious.
I looked very hard at the doctor. I tried to listen for another voice. His inner voice. Perhaps a voice he didn't even know he had. The voice I'd heard 15 years before with Margaret. When he predicted... But no, there was nothing. I sighed with relief.
Pour me a cup of that coffee.
Yeah, sure thing.
How's the back this morning?
Fine, just fine.
How about some tennis?
If you'd like.
Sure your back's okay?
I said so, honey.
I found out you'd seen the doctor the other day.
Oh, well, it was just a checkup.
And the back?
Oh, a twinge now and then.
Oh, everybody gets a twinge now and then. Dinner tonight at the Caswells. I better call her. And then we'll try a few sets. Do you love me?
I think so.
I think I love you, too.
She left the room. I was all alone. For a week now, I've been hearing Margaret's voice. But now there wasn't a sound. I listened, but as mysteriously as it had begun. Perhaps it was coming to an end. Maybe I was losing this ear I had for voices. And then I heard it. A voice. It was very indistinct at first, but I recognized it. It was my own voice. But I couldn't believe what it was saying. I didn't want to believe what it was saying.
Sally. Oh, please, Sally. Sally, give me my pills. Please. Sally, I must have my pills. Sally, aren't you going to give me my pills? Sally, don't kill me. I don't want to die. Sally, my pills.
George, what's wrong?
Sally, it's my back.
I'll call the doctor.
Yes, Sally, quickly. The pain is terrible. Sally, please. You won't kill me, will you?
What are you talking about?
When the time comes, you won't kill me. You won't, Sally. Or will you? Will you?
Who knows? George and Margaret, that's one story. George and Sally, that's another. Yes, we often think, many of us, how wonderful if we could only hear voices from the future. Voices that could predict our fate. But maybe it's not such a good idea after all. Maybe it's better never to know. I'll be back in a moment.
And now, with another story of mystery and intrigue, here is Commander Neville Putney to keep you in anxiety. What's this story about, Commander?
Well, it concerns a middle-aged business executive named Fremont Witherton, who, after spending his entire career with the same firm, returned home one evening with his dreams suddenly shattered.
Is that you, Fremont?
It's me, Erica.
Fremont, you look so peaked.
Erica, I've been fired. That new plant manager, he's been trying to cut me out, and today he succeeded.
Well, you don't need to give me that hangdog look. Just go out and get another job.
I'm through, Erica. I'm 58 years old. Nobody will hire me for half the salary I've been making. My only hope is to kill the plant manager.
Fremont, I hate rough stuff, but if you've decided, your Roscoe's upstairs in the trunk. You load it, and I'll warm up the getaway car.
Hey, young man, how about that for a story?
Well, that was a dilly, Commander, but you just can't leave us this way. How did it all come out?
Time's up for now, but tune in, Bob and Ray, on WOR 3:15 to 7, and maybe you'll find out.
This is WOR New York, your station for the Mystery Theater.
This is Mary Helen McPhillips. I hope you'll join me tomorrow morning at 10:15 on the Martha Dean program. My guest will be John Alexander McMahon. He's president of the American Hospital Association, and we'll be talking about the cost, quality, and quantity of health care, a concern to all of us. That's tomorrow morning at 10:15.
Voices. What are the voices we think we hear in the night? Are they merely dreams, fantasies, or our own wishes? Or are they real? And why shouldn't they be real? After all, reality is what we think it is, and ever so often, what we want it to be. One reality that you can count on is the absolute fact that we will be back here again with other voices to tell you another tale that will excite and amaze and perhaps cause just a tiny, delicious tingle of terror. Our cast included Larry Haynes, Augusta Dabney, Leon Janney, and Suzanne Grossman. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, a preview of our next tale.
I want a baby. Get on with whatever you have to do.
First of all, this talisman. You must wear it around your waist. This package contains herbs. A special combination to relax you. That's the secret. To relax.
That's all?
For now. But one thing I must add. On the birth of the child, I will ask you one favor. You must promise to grant it. Take the talisman and the herbs. And don't be alarmed if certain unusual things happen in the next few weeks.
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
The WOR Mystery Theater was brought to you by ShopRite Supermarkets, where you get a lot more for a little less, and by Suburban Savings with offices throughout North Jersey. The preceding Mystery Theater program was furnished by the CBS Radio Network. Now let's listen to a few moments from tomorrow night's suspenseful drama on the WOR Radio Mystery Theater.
But one thing I must add about our arrangement.
Yes?
On the birth of the child, I will demand one favor. You must promise to grant it.
A favor? What?
I shall ask it when the child is born.
But I can't promise that when I don't know what it is.
It's a very small favor, but it is part of the bargain. And believe me, Mrs. Richards, if you do decide to bargain with me, I warn you to be ready to keep your part of it.
Mother Love stars Joan Hackett Hear the entire exciting drama tomorrow night, right after the Foot and Lewis news commentary at 7 o'clock.
Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Welcome to the fear you can hear. Welcome to the sounds of suspense, to the terrifying world of your own imagination. And I hope you won't hold it against us if we scare you a little with a tale that really could happen, I suppose. But when you hear the outcome, you'll hope it never does. Consider the case of Paula Richards, age 24, who put her future in the hands of an old fortune teller and dealer in the macabre.
But one thing I must add about our arrangement.
Yes?
On the birth of the child, I will demand one favor. You must promise to grant it.
A favor? What?
I shall ask it when the child is born.
But I can't promise that when I don't know what it is.
It's a very small favor, but it is part of the bargain. And believe me, Mrs. Richards, if you do decide to bargain with me, I warn you to be ready to keep your part of it.
Our mystery drama, Mother Love, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Bob Jurin and stars Joan Hackett. It is sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser, and by the Kellogg Company, makers of Kellogg's Special K cereal. I'll return shortly with Act One.
Some research experts say you can't taste the difference between beers. Well, if they're right, then Anheuser-Busch wastes a barrel of time Beechwood aging Budweiser. Only they don't think so. Brewing beer right does make a difference. And they're betting a bundle that you can taste the difference in Bud. When it comes to brewing Budweiser, the Anheuser-Busch choice is to go all the way because they still care about quality. Look at it this way. If the Bud people have a choice between what some experts say and what beer drinkers say, well, you'd better believe they'll go with you beer drinkers every time. When you say Budweiser, you said it all. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis.
This is WOR New York, your station for Mystery Theater.
Hey, Ma, what's for dinner?
ShopRite has a beautiful buy to help you serve dinner. Fine imported porcelain china. The beautifully crafted Lovelace pattern by Crown Victoria. An elegant white-on-white platinum-banded pattern to complement any table. Now available only at ShopRite. The basic place-setting pieces, dinner plate, cup and saucer, dessert plate, and bread and butter plate, are just 39 cents. 39 cents each with every $3 purchase. A different place-setting piece is featured each week at this special price. You'll want to collect all the magnificent completer pieces and matching ovenware available every week at low prices, too. Visit ShopRite and start your set of lovely porcelain china today. It's a beautiful buy.
Hey, Ma, what's for dinner? ShopRite has the answer.
Offer not available in Westchester, Ulster, Orange, Dutchess, and Columbia counties.
A doctor's waiting room is not the most pleasant place to spend a winter morning. And for Paula and George Richards, this morning is a very fateful one.
What's taking him so long?
Easy, honey. Dr. Morton has other patients, sick patients.
Why can't Dr. Morton say yes or no? Why does he have to keep us waiting?
He wanted to see us together, in person. I understand how he feels. Sometimes a doctor's word can make or wreck a life.
This waiting is making a wreck out of me. I'm going to call Mr. Jordan. I'll tell him I won't be in today. I told him I'd be late, but I'm just no good for work today. I'm sure the doctor won't mind my using his phone.
Jordan Electric.
Oh, Oh, Mr. Jordan, I didn't expect you to answer.
Oh, Millie's out sick. What's the verdict, Paula?
I don't know yet. That's why I'm calling. I'm too upset to come in today. Is it all right?
Sure, I understand. The books can wait another day. No audit till the end of the quarter anyway.
Thank you.
What's the holdup?
The doctor's busy. We're next.
Courage up, Paula. I've got my fingers crossed for you.
Thanks, Mr. Jordan. Goodbye.
Bye, Paula.
He didn't mind, did he?
No, he didn't. He said if I wanted...
Mrs. Richards, Mr. Richards.
Hello, Doc.
Oh, thank heavens.
Will you step inside, please? Come right in. Take those chairs by the desk.
Thank you.
I'm sorry you had to wait.
Doctor, I'd like...
I know, Miss Richards, you're anxious about the tests.
Oh, you have no idea.
Easy, honey.
I'll come right to the point. I think that's what you want.
Yes.
Please, Doctor.
All right. I can't sweet-talk my way through to make it easier for you. The results are negative. I'm sorry, Mrs. Richards, but from my examination, Dr. Field's examination, and the lab tests, you simply cannot ever hope to bear a child.
Oh, George.
It's certain, then? Absolutely certain?
Yes, it is.
Would artificial...
No. The trouble lies with Mrs. Richards. She's physically incapable of conceiving or bearing a child.
I was trying to prepare for this, but it sort of hits you right between the eyes.
Take me home, George, please.
I hate to leave you alone today, but I have to get to the studio.
It's all right, George.
You know that I'm not going to love you any the less, Paula.
Darling, I just wanted to give you a son.
So it's not in our cards. We have each other. That's the main reason we got married, to be together. A baby would have been the extra icing on the cake.
Don't stop loving me, George. Please. Please, George. Don't stop loving me.
I told you I won't, honey. And I meant it. You'll be okay today?
I'll be okay. I won't be singing around the apartment, but I won't be jumping out the window either.
I hate like the devil to leave you, honey, but I'm due on the air with the noon news.
I'll be all right. See you at 7.
Paula, what's the news? I've been dying for your call all morning.
Edna, would you have lunch with me today? I know our date isn't until Friday, and I know that it's snowing awful hard, but if you could just...
Of course I'll have lunch, but get me down off the ceiling. What did the doctor say?
I'll meet you at the towers, 1 o'clock?
Of course. Paula, what happened? Bad news?
Yes, bad news.
Oh, I can imagine how tough it is for you, Paula.
No, you can't. I'm going to lose George.
Did he say that?
No, just the opposite, but... Oh, Edna, I know. I have a feeling.
Oh, now, Paula, honey, don't start planning your own downfall.
I'm afraid it's all planned. It's all in the cards.
In the cards?
Yes, you know, it's just an expression.
Well, honey, I don't know whether I should suggest this.
What?
Well, you're just mentioning cards. It seems sort of frivolous at a time like this, but... Well, there's a woman down in the East Village. She tells fortunes, with cards and tea leaves.
And what could you do for me? Tell me what I already know.
Well, this woman specializes in herbs. She calls herself Mother Love.
Mother Love?
Well, now, mind you, I'm just suggesting, but maybe, just maybe, this woman could help you.
How?
Sometimes these old crones can read things in the future. Maybe a baby is in the cards for you.
After the doctor said that there wasn't...
It's just an idea.
Well, how do you know this Mother Love?
Oh, quite by accident. About 6 months ago. Henry and, well, maybe it was Ed. Anyway, it was the current one at the time. We were bar hopping in the village when we came on this fantastic storefront. The window was painted green and purple with red curtains, and it said, Mother Love, in orange letters. Fortunes told, secret herb remedies. Seemed like a lark, so we went in.
And all I remember from then on was mumbling and incense. And being told, 1, I'd never marry. 2, that I was too fickle and flighty. And 3, that my mother had had a wart on her right side. Darned if the old crone wasn't right about that, too.
Edna, the idea that a fortune teller spell can help me have a baby is just nonsense.
Well, looking at it in the cold light of day, you're right. It's just a thought. Oh, something to say, I guess. Oh, honestly, Paul, I feel so uncomfortable. I mean, what do you say to someone in your predicament? Hello?
Edna?
Oh, hi, Paula.
Edna, look, last month you mentioned a woman in the village. She works with herbs.
Mother Love? Oh, Paula, you don't mean you've been thinking seriously about that?
Not until now, not really, but I'd like to know how to find her.
Well, I seem to remember it was on 8th Street. No, it was 9th. Yeah, 9th, near 1st. Well, that's about all I'm sure of.
9th, near 1st.
Now, Paula, I wasn't really being serious last month.
Well, it can't do any harm. Right now, I'm ready to grab at any straws.
Oh, when are you going?
Saturday.
Have you told George?
No, he'd be furious.
Do you want me to come with you?
Would you? I'd feel a lot better.
Now, Paula, let's not go too far.
What does that mean?
Well, we all laugh at fortune-telling and spells and brews, but sometimes when we want to believe, well, things happen.
I'm going to this Mother Love because I want something to happen. Maybe she can't do anything to help me have a baby, but I'm going to try. Look, it was all your idea, Edna.
I think it's at the end of this block.
What a neighborhood. Makes my skin crawl.
That's it.
I see what you mean about those red curtains and orange letters.
Looks like a Coney Island transplant that failed.
Mother Love, fortunes told, secret herb remedies. Well, Mother Love, here I come. Good heavens. I never expected anything like this.
It's not what I remember. Oh, but then I've been bar hopping. This rug, it must be worth a fortune.
Edna, look at the paintings.
There's too much incense, though.
Mother has company. Good morning, ladies. Come in. How can Mother serve you? Your fortunes, perhaps? Maybe an ailment? Well?
I'd like to talk to you.
It will cost you. Mother's time is expensive.
Well, I'll pay.
Are both of you?
Oh, no, I'm just along for the ride.
Come then. We'll go into my studio.
Edna, I'll be here.
This way, my dear. Through the curtains. It's a little dark, but I like it that way.
Mother, is that you? Mother?
Of course, Claude.
Mother, is that you?
Don't be alarmed. He's harmless. He's my son.
What's the matter with him?
He's blind and feeble-minded.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Come, sit down at the table. What will it be? Cards, tea leaves, crystal ball?
No, I'm more interested in herbs, I think.
What is it you want?
I want to have a baby. I was told that you might be able to help.
Who told you I can do things like that?
A friend?
That one out there?
No, someone else.
Mother, is that you?
Yes, Claude. Everything's all right. I tell fortunes. I give herbs for minor complaints. I do not deal in that sort of thing.
Is there a herb that might help me?
Of course not. Not without...
a spell.
Forget it. I've said too much already.
Mother Love, I want desperately to have a child. The doctor says that I can't. The problem is my fault, I'll try anything, even if a spell is necessary.
It would be expensive.
I don't care.
There may be a way to help you have a normal baby with your own husband.
Please, that's all I want.
It will cost you $1,000.
I have that.
Plus another $5,000 when you have conceived.
5,000?
I said it would be expensive, and I guarantee nothing. With these things, we can only try.
Will you tell me one thing?
Perhaps. Perhaps not.
Have you ever done this, or this sort of thing before?
I cannot answer that.
Quite a gamble for Paula. $6,000 and no guarantee. A long shot if there ever was one. Will she take the gamble? Is she desperate enough? We'll soon see. I'll be back shortly with Act 2.
A lot on my mind, and you're right. I've been thinking about myself too much.
I'll see what I can get tickets for.
Look at the time. I've got to shower and run.
Hey, will you look at that?
What is it?
It's a bird. At the window. I think it's a crow.
No, crows are bigger.
A blackbird?
No, I don't know.
I thought they all went south for the winter.
It looks awfully cold.
Well, don't invite it in. They know how to take care of themselves. I'll see you tonight, honey.
Bye, George.
I'll call you at the office about the tickets for tonight.
Okay. Shoo. Go away. Shoo. Oh, well, a few crumbs. Then I've got to get to work. You look so cold. Now here's some bread. Get out of here! Get out! What am I going to do? Oh, get off the floor, lad! Get out! Get out! Oh, Lord! What am I going to do? Get out! Shoo! Good. Go away! Hello? Mrs. Jensen? Is Mr. Jensen there? This is Mrs. Richards in 3A. No, it's not about the heat. It's about a bird in my apartment. I can't get it out. Well, I thought that Mr. Jensen might... no, I've got to get to work. All right, I'll leave... he can get in with the pass key. Maybe the bird will just fly out, and I'll leave the window open a little. Yes, all right, thank you. Bye. Stop following me. Get out! What am I going to get rid of you? You wanted to see me, Mr. Jordan?
Yes. Sit down, Paula. How are you feeling?
Why?
Well, I know you've had a personal disappointment. You've been under a strain.
You don't have to say it, Mr. Jordan. I know that my work has just been rotten lately, and I'm just all on edge. And today there is a bird in my apartment.
A bird?
Tapped on the window this morning, and stupid me opened the window and gave it some crumbs.
What kind of bird?
I don't know. It's black and shiny. Not too big. I asked the superintendent to get it out. It's so unnerving.
Well, I can imagine.
I'm sorry about the work, Mr. Jordan. I know I've been letting you down.
No, well, I'm sure it's just a passing thing. Your work has always been tops, Paula. But the books are important. And with the auditors coming in next month, well, everything just has to be in order.
I know, Mr. Jordan, and I promise I'll straighten up.
Yes? Yes, she's here. It's a call for you.
Oh, it must be George about tonight. Hello?
Mrs. Richards? You know who this is.
Yes, I know.
Tell me, Mrs. Richards, has the visitor arrived yet?
The visitor?
You'll know. You'll know when the visitor arrives.
You don't mean the bird.
Good. He has arrived. It's working. Yes, it's working, Mrs. Richards. Don't neglect the tea now, whatever you do. And take care of the visitor. It is most important. I'll be in touch with you again very soon.
Oh, Paula, is it trouble? You're white as a ghost.
No trouble at all. That is, I don't know.
Well, you mentioned the bird. Is that it?
Yes. The superintendent got it out.
Oh, good. Then there's nothing to worry about.
Hey, honey, I'm home. Paula?
Don't touch it, George.
What?
Just let it alone.
Oh, good grief. How did it get in?
Look, I let it in by accident. It won't leave.
I'll get it to leave.
No, George, don't go near it, please.
Paula, we are not going to live with that in the house.
It has a broken leg. I was thinking of getting a cage for it.
You can't cage a wild bird, and I'm not going to sit around with one beady eye staring at me like that.
George, don't touch it, please. Just go along with me.
Oh, Paula, a pet is one thing, but this...
I have to take care of it.
Why a wild bird? I can't stand the way it stares at me.
It stares at me, too. Well, just get used to it.
Now, this gives me the willies.
I'll get dinner. You have to be back at the studio at 9, don't you?
Yeah, I'm sorry about our theater date, but with Pete's wife in the delivery room, I've got to cover the evening news.
Of course, Pete shouldn't be anywhere else when the baby is born. Do you want French fries or boiled potatoes?
Whatever's fastest. So you found a home, did you? Well, I'm not in favor of it, but it looks like you're part of the family.
Paula, come in. I haven't seen you, since your father's funeral, almost 3 years.
It was nice of you to see me, Mr. Martin.
And why wouldn't I? I'm only sorry I wasn't more attentive to you after your father passed away. Fred and I were good friends. I've missed him.
Thank you. So have I. I'm here to ask a favor.
Of course, Paula.
Mr. Martin, would you lend me $5,000, no questions asked?
5,000? Are you in some kind of trouble, Paula?
No questions?
Oh, yes, of course. You wouldn't ask me if you didn't need it badly. I will, Paula. I don't have that much on hand. Suppose I send you a check.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't need it immediately. Any time in the next few weeks will just be fine.
You'll have it in a few days.
I promise you I will pay you back.
Oh, I'm not worried about that.
Hello?
Mrs. Richards?
Oh, yes, it's you.
Things are ready. You'll be needing the $5,000 very soon.
I've arranged that.
Good. How is the visitor? Still there? It must be there.
It is.
Good. $5,000, Claude.
What?
The lady will give us $5,000.
Mother?
You'll be going to get better, Claude. You'll be able to see again. Your legs won't hurt. Mother has to leave you for a while. But don't worry, Claude. We'll be together soon with $5,000. Everything will be all right. I promise you.
Everything will be all right for Mother Love and Claude, and presumably Paula. But when we tamper with the unknown, the results can be very unexpected. I'll return shortly with Act 3.
I'm Hy Brown, producer of Radio Mystery Theater.
A lot on my mind, and you're right. I've been thinking about myself too much.
I'll see what I can get tickets for.
Look at the time. I've got to shower and run.
Hey, will you look at that?
What is it?
It's a bird. At the window. I think it's a crow.
No, crows are bigger.
A blackbird?
No, I don't know.
I thought they all went south for the winter.
It looks awfully cold.
Well, don't invite it in. They know how to take care of themselves. I'll see you tonight, honey.
Bye, George.
I'll call you at the office about the tickets for tonight.
Okay. Shoo. Go away. Shoo. Oh, well, a few crumbs. Then I've got to get to work. You look so cold. Now here's some bread. Get out of here! Get out! What am I going to do? Oh, get off the floor, lad! Get out! Get out! Oh, Lord! What am I going to do? Get out! Shoot! Go away! Hello? Mrs. Jensen? Is Mr. Jensen there? This is Mrs. Richards in 3A. No, it's not about the heat. It's about a bird in my apartment. I can't get it out. Well, I thought that Mr. Jensen might... Oh, no, I've got to get to work. All right, I'll leave... he can get in with the passkey. Maybe the bird will just fly out, and I'll leave the window open a little. Yes, all right, thank you. Bye. Stop following me. Get out! What am I going to get rid of you? You wanted to see me, Mr. Jordan?
Yes. Sit down, Paula. How are you feeling?
Why?
Well, I know you've had a personal disappointment. You've been under a strain.
You don't have to say it, Mr. Jordan. I know that my work has just been rotten lately, and I'm just all on edge. And today there is a bird in my apartment.
A bird?
Tapped on the window this morning, and stupid me opened the window and gave it some crumbs.
What kind of bird?
I don't know. It's black and shiny. Not too big. I asked the superintendent to get it out. It's so unnerving.
Well, I can imagine.
I'm sorry about the work, Mr. Jordan. I know I've been letting you down.
No, well, I'm sure it's just a passing thing. Your work has always been tops, Paula. But the books are important. And with the auditors coming in next month, well, everything just has to be in order.
I know, Mr. Jordan, and I promise I'll straighten up.
Yes? Yes, she's here. It's a call for you.
Oh, it must be George about tonight. Hello?
Mrs. Richards? You know who this is.
Yes, I know.
Tell me, Mrs. Richards, has the visitor arrived yet?
The visitor?
You'll know. You'll know when the visitor arrives.
You don't mean the bird.
Good. He has arrived. It's working. Yes, it's working, Mrs. Richards. Don't neglect the tea now, whatever you do. And take care of the visitor. It is most important. I'll be in touch with you again very soon.
Oh, Paula, is it trouble? You're white as a ghost.
No trouble at all. That is, I don't know.
Well, you mentioned the bird. Is that it?
Yes. The superintendent got it out.
Oh, good. Then there's nothing to worry about.
Hey, honey, I'm home. Paula?
Don't touch it, George.
What?
Just let it alone.
Oh, good grief. How did it get in?
Look, I let it in by accident. It won't leave.
I'll get it to leave.
No, George. Don't go near it, please.
Paula, we are not going to live with that in the house.
It has a broken leg. I was thinking of getting a cage for it.
You can't cage a wild bird, and I'm not going to sit around with one beady eye staring at me like that.
George, don't touch it, please. Just go along with me.
Oh, Paula, a pet is one thing, but this...
I have to take care of it.
Why a wild bird? I can't stand the way it stares at me.
It stares at me, too. Well, just get used to it.
Now, well, this gives me the willies.
I'll get dinner. You have to be back at the studio at 9, don't you?
Yeah, I'm sorry about our theater date, but with Pete's wife in the delivery room, I've got to cover the evening news.
Of course, Pete shouldn't be anywhere else when the baby is born. Do you want French fries or boiled potatoes?
Whatever's fastest. So you found a home, did you? Well, I'm not in favor of it, but it looks like you're part of the family.
Paula, come in. I haven't seen you, since your father's funeral, almost 3 years.
It was nice of you to see me, Mr. Martin.
And why wouldn't I? I'm only sorry I wasn't more attentive to you after your father passed away. Fred and I were good friends. I've missed him.
Thank you. So have I. I'm here to ask a favor.
Of course, Paula.
Mr. Morton, would you lend me $5,000, no questions asked?
5,000? Are you in some kind of trouble, Paula?
No questions?
Yes, of course. You wouldn't ask me if you didn't need it badly. I will, Paula. I don't have that much on hand. Suppose I send you a check.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't need it immediately. Any time in the next few weeks will just be fine.
You'll have it in a few days.
I promise you I will pay you back.
Oh, I'm not worried about that.
Hello?
Mrs. Richards,
Oh, yes, it's you.
things are ready. You'll be needing the 5,000 very soon.
I've arranged that.
Good, good. How is the visitor? Still there? It must be there.
It is.
Good, good. $5,000, Claude.
What?
The lady will give us $5,000.
Mother?
You'll be going to get better, Claude. You'll be able to see again. Your legs won't hurt.
Mother?
Mother has to leave you for a while. But don't worry, Claude. We'll be together soon with $5,000. Everything will be all right. I promise you.
Everything will be all right for Mother Love and Claude, and presumably Paula. But when we tamper with the unknown, the results can be very unexpected. I'll return shortly with Act 3.
I'm High Brown, producer of Radio Mystery Theater. In recent weeks, I've invited listeners to enter a weekly prize drawing and to send along comments about our program if you wished. Well, you leave me just about speechless except to say thank you for the fantastic response. Thousands upon thousands of letters, and they're still pouring in. But although we couldn't feel more gratified, there is a problem. In addition to your kind words, many of you ask questions, and the volume of mail is so great that we can't get around to sifting through it for many weeks. But now that the drawing is over, if you have a specific question, please try us again, and we'll aim for a quick reply. Address, Mystery Theater, Box 5152, Radio City Station, New York, 10019. Mystery Theater, Box 5152, Radio City Station, New York, 10019.
This is WOR New York, 710 on your dial, your Mystery Theater station.
John Wingate with a reminder. Tonight at 10 o'clock, the Wingate News Digest. And question, you planning to drive this weekend? Great. New England? Forget it. The Poconos? Watch out. Upstate? Westchester? Rockland? You're in trouble there, too. A spokesman for the Auto Club of New York will tell you it's going to be a dry weekend coming up. And he'll also let you know how he feels about the gas shortage. It's short, he says, but why, he doesn't know. Then a special, our White House correspondent, Clifford Evans, analyzing Richard Nixon's speech at 9 o'clock tonight. Mr. Evans on with me at 10 o'clock. Later, deafness. What are the early warning signs that you, at whatever age, may be going deaf? We'll find out from a top expert on hearing. He himself has the problem and knows. Tonight, 10 o'clock, John Wingate, WOR.
Let's return now to the plight of Paula and George Richards. You'll remember that Mother Love told Claude everything would be all right. But things are not quite so right for George. In fact, things for George are getting downright impossible.
Paula, I am not going to bed another night with the bird on the dresser.
It's been there every night for 2 weeks. All it does is sleep. You've got to admit he hasn't been any trouble.
I still don't like the look in its eye. The way it hobbles with that broken leg. It's grotesque.
Turn out the light, George. You won't see it then.
Oh, boy, I never thought I'd be sharing my bedroom with a bird.
Good night, darling.
What's the matter with that thing?
I don't know. It never acted that way before.
If it keeps that up, I'm going to shoot it.
Good night, George.
Good night, Paula. Paula, what is it? Paula.
There's pain in my
Oh, wait a minute. Let me get the light. There. I'll call Dr. Morton.
No. Wait. Oh, what's the matter with... What is the matter with the bird?
Devil, take the bird. I'm concerned about you.
It's Louis. Stop it. What time is it?
It's 4:30. I'm calling Dr. Morton.
Don't. No. Not yet.
It might be appendicitis.
No. It's not that.
I'm going to kill that bird if it doesn't shut up.
Look, I'll be all right. I'll be all right. I'll see... God, I'll see Dr. Morton in the morning. George?
Yes, honey.
What time is it?
7 o'clock.
I fell asleep.
After the pain seemed to stop.
Oh, the pain. I'm so much better now.
Well, we're going to see Dr. Morton just as soon as you feel well enough to get up.
No, I'll be all right. I'll just stay home. I don't want to see Dr. Morton today.
Paula, you can't let it go. It might be something serious.
I promise I'll see him when it is necessary. I want to stay in bed today.
I'm going to call him and tell him about it after I make us some coffee.
All right. I'm going to wash.
I'll call Mr. Jordan also and tell him that you won't be in today.
He isn't going to like that.
Paula.
What?
Come in here.
What's the matter? You sound so...
I didn't do it, Paul. I know I threatened to, but I swear I didn't. I never gave the bird another thought after that pain itch. I never touched it.
Oh, George, it's all crumpled up.
It's Paul. The bird is...
How long ago was this attack?
A little over a month ago, Dr. Morton.
Why didn't you see me right away?
Well, I wanted to be sure.
Well, Paula, there are some preliminary signs similar to pregnancy.
That's what I thought. I knew it would be.
Don't get your hopes up yet, Paula. I told you about the impossibility of your...
I know, but I think that...
And I said these symptoms are similar to pregnancy. They could be caused by something else. I'd like to run a few more tests.
All right, anything that you say, but this time... They're going to be positive. I know, Dr. Morton. I just know. A woman knows when life has started within her. Hello?
Mrs. Richards, I thought I'd be seeing you by now.
Oh, yes, well, the doctor hasn't confirmed it yet, but
But we know, don't we?
Yes.
The second part of our bargain is due, Mrs. Richards. $5,000. And after what we've already been through, I think you know I mean what I say.
Yes, I do.
Good. I'll be expecting you, Mrs. Richards.
I promise I'll keep my end of the bargain. I told you I arranged for the money. It just hasn't come in yet. I'll check on it today.
Good. I'll be seeing you soon, then.
Yes, I promise.
I hope so, Mrs. Richards. You know what I can do.
Hello? Hello, may I speak to Mr. Morton, please? No, Mr. Morton Sr. Yeah. What? Oh, but God, when? Well, listen, do you know if he sent... Oh, no, you wouldn't know that. What am I going to do? Dear God. No, I don't want to speak to anyone else.
I expected you sooner.
I'm sorry. I had to turn to another source for the money.
It doesn't matter. You're here with it now?
It's all there.
Good. We're almost even then, eh?
I hope so.
You don't sound grateful, Mrs. Richards. You wanted a child, and you are pregnant. You should be grateful. I have lost my son.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Claude is, but he was so ill, perhaps it's better. Part of this will pay for the funeral. The rest is for the future.
I really must go now.
Of course. Go. And good fortune. You won't need the amulet anymore. Save it as a souvenir. And I'll be seeing you when the baby is born.
Paula, George. Sit down.
Well, I'm sure glad Paul has finally decided to have you check on those stomach pains, Dr. Morton.
When I examined her last week...
Last week?
I didn't tell you, George. I wanted to be sure first.
Sure what?
I'm going to have a baby.
What?
That's right, George. I wanted to see you both about the results of the tests. It's almost impossible for me to believe, but it's conclusive. Paula is pregnant.
I wanted it so much for you, George.
What? You said that Paula could never conceive or bear a child.
I did, but Paula proved us wrong. Believe me, many things happen to prove us wrong now and then.
You're happy, George?
Happy? Oh, Paula, now I know why you've been so irritable and distant. You know, I feel like I'm getting my wife back along with a baby.
Well, I want to see you every 2 weeks. We usually make it a monthly visit, but you're an unusual case.
A very wonderful case.
I wish you both much happiness.
You wanted to see me, Mr. Jordan?
Yes, Paula. How are you feeling?
I think fall is the word.
When is the big day?
The end of August. It's only 3 months. I'm going to spend an uncomfortable summer.
It looks that way. I don't know any way of saying this, Paula, other than just coming right out with it. You know we were audited last month at the end of the quarter.
Yes.
The auditors found a shortage of $5,000. I'll have to have an explanation.
Yes, I suppose you will.
Now, I know there must be a reason, Paula. You've worked for me for 5 years. Never a mistake.
I'm going to tell you the truth. I just hope that you can believe it.
Why shouldn't I?
I simply couldn't get the money anywhere. I haven't told George, but we'll pay it back. Look, I promise you.
I hope so. But I'll go along with that.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan.
Right now, the baby's the important thing.
George, it's time. I know it.
I'll get Dr. Morton.
I'll get the suitcase.
Congratulations, Dad.
Everything's all right. Paula?
Paula's fine.
Boy or girl?
Only the mother can tell you that. Go on in.
Paula, honey.
George, isn't he beautiful? I've already named him George Jr. I hope you don't mind.
Mind? Oh, no. Honey, honey, honey. More champagne, Edna?
Silly question.
A toast to the godmother.
Here.
Oh, you two. You know you're going to make a grown woman cry.
To Edna and to little George.
Oh, I'm so happy for both of you. And you don't know how relieved I am.
Relieved?
Oh. Well, what I mean is,
I think that Edna means that she's relieved she doesn't have to listen to my troubles at lunch anymore. From now on, everything's roses.
I'll get it. Hello? Yes. It's for you, honey.
Hello?
Hello, Mrs. Richards. Congratulations on your new son.
Well, how did you... thank you.
It's time now for the favor. The last part of our bargain.
Yes, I suppose it is.
Good. I'll see you here in my studio tomorrow. With the baby.
Just to see him?
That's all. Just to see him.
All right.
Good. Come in.
don't want to seem rude, but I'd like to get this over with just as quickly as possible.
Come, let me hold him. Ah, there we are. What a fine, healthy boy. Aren't you, Claude? Such a fine, strong legs now. They don't hurt anymore, do they, Claude?
Give me back the baby.
Mother told you everything would be all right, Claude. Yes, Claude.
Oh, my God. My God, what is it?
Mother told you that you'd be away for a little while. But now we're together again. And you won't be sick anymore, Claude. You have a fine new body now. And we'll take better care of it than we did with the last one. Mother will see to that, Claude. Mother will see to it.
So, little George, or little Claude, whichever you prefer, seems to have more than his share of mothers. Perhaps Paula and Mother Love will share the raising of the child. But whatever they do, I hope that you, if you're ever tempted to deal in spells, will remember some age-old advice and follow it. Caveat emptor. Let the buyer beware. I'll be back shortly.
And now, with another story of mystery and intrigue, here is Commander Neville Putney to keep you in anxiety. What's this story about, Commander?
Well, it concerns a middle-aged business executive named Fremont Witherton, who, after spending his entire career with the same firm, returned home one evening with his dreams suddenly shattered.
Is that you, Fremont?
It's me, Erica.
Fremont, you look so peaked.
Erica, I've been fired. That new plant manager, he's been trying to cut me out, and today he's succeeded.
Well, you don't need to give me that hangdog look. Just go out and get another job.
I'm through, Erica. I'm 58 years old. Nobody will hire me for half the salary I've been making. My only hope is to kill the plant manager.
Fremont, I hate rough stuff, but if you've decided, your Roscoe's upstairs in the trunk. You load it, and I'll warm up the getaway car.
Hey, young man, how about that for a story?
Well, that was a dilly, Commander, but you just can't leave us this way. How did it all come out?
Time's up for now, but tune in, Bob and Ray, on WOR 3:15 to 7, and maybe you'll find out.
This is WOR New York, your Mystery Theater station.
Good evening, everyone. This is Patricia McCann. Welcome back to the New York Times, Craig Claiborne, and to the McCann program tomorrow morning at 11:15 a.m. right here on WOR.
Ah, sweet mystery, magic, mysticism. These are the ingredients we mix well, chill, and serve nightly on Radio Mystery Theater. Come and enjoy our hospitality again when malice heads the menu and menace is our mead. Our cast included Joan Hackett, Vinette Carroll, Mason Adams, Leon Janney, Evie Juster, and Roger DeCoven. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, a preview of our next tale.
Am I dead? Not quite. You're in a hospital with a bullet in your brain. As the saying goes, as good as dead.
And Sherry and Herb got away with it. Oh, it isn't fair. If I only had it to do all over again.
Suppose you had. Could you do better?
Of course. Of course, if I knew what I know now.
Naturally. That would have to be a precondition if you're asking for yesterday to live over again.
Oh, please. Please, give me the chance.
This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
WOR Mystery Theater was brought to you by ShopRite Supermarkets, where you get a lot more for a little less, and Suburban Savings, with offices throughout New Jersey. The preceding Mystery Theater program was furnished by the CBS Radio Network. Next, a scene from tomorrow night's Edge of the Seat entertainment of the WOR Radio Mystery Theater.
Brain injury, boys. Handle with care. That's it. Nice and easy. Keep him flat on the cart.
How is he, Doc?
Still breathing, Sergeant. Touch and go. You want to stay with it as we take him in?
You don't see that.
What's he saying?
Search me.
Could hold up a minute so I can hear what he's
Not
trying
a
to
second, Sergeant. Anything this guy has to tell you will be after he's operated on, not before. If then.
Sounds like he's talking with someone. Asking for something.
Yesterday.
There, something about yesterday.
What this baby ought to be worrying about is tomorrow.
Listen for The Man Who Asked for Yesterday, another chilling tale on the WOR Radio Mystery Theater tomorrow night, right after the Fulton Lewis commentary at 7.
This is Sherry Henry, proud as a winning politician to announce my special guest tomorrow is Mrs. Malcolm Wilson, the wife of our new governor of New York. Now, you know, the truth is, even though the Wilsons have been at the pinnacle of state government for 16 years, we really know very little about them as people. And what fun, I promise you, it's going to be to meet this charming First Lady. That's Mrs. Malcolm Wilson on the Sherry Henry program. It's tomorrow afternoon, 2:15 on WOR Radio.
You're now to set for news with John Scott, WOR New York.